This is the NTT INDYCAR series, and it is time for another round of the season. We head over to Road America for the XPEL Grand Prix. Let's head over and get all of the information from INDYCAR Radio before this race.
Look forward to the call today for sure. Stay as cool as you possibly can out there. That carousel features 8, 9, and 10, and then a little straightaway to the kink, which is turn number 11. And then they'll fly through the kettle bottoms, 11, 11A, and then set up for Canada Corner, which is turn 12. You might see some drivers get off to driver's left in turn number 12. They carry a lot of momentum in there. Then a little switchback, if you will, through 13. Then the final turn, which is 14, before they go back uphill to the start-finish line. Next up, the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and we'll preview that race weekend with the track president when we come back.
This is INDYCAR Radio. Find us on the...
Yeah, absolutely. As they momentarily find themselves going off, we are preparing and getting all set and ready for this interesting race. And it's a circuit, it's a proper road course. That is what we love about this, and it is always great to watch and see as well. And we've currently got ourselves on this specific screen as we're just waiting for the live timings to kick into gear here in INDYCAR. But the drivers are preparing. As you can see, P1 Louis Foster, the rookie, finds himself starting at the front. Two drivers who have won the 8 races so far this season start in behind. Alex Palou and Kyle Kirkwood. Kyle Kirkwood finally was able to take a victory at an oval. He's already been a street course master as well. So is it his time now to complete the trio and be able to win at a road course? That is going to be the question mark for him. Alex Palou is Alex Palou. You don't need any explanation about him. But what does Louis Foster do? So much pressure on that rookie driver to perform, to deliver, and he is going to be trying his absolute best. I cannot wait to see what Louis Foster has in store for us as he gets all set and ready. And you only get, as INDYCAR posted on their social media, you only get to experience your first pole once in your career, and this is the first moment where he will be leading that rolling start. He'll have Alex Palou alongside. Alex Palou, the champions of champions he is, and Louis Foster will have the goal of trying to control things the best as possible. Even if it's not the win by the end of today, he'll want to maximize his result. He will want to try and get the best possible result by the end of this run. Scott McLaughlin is the driver who starts in 4th. We've got Christian Lundgaard who starts in 5th position as well. That is your top 5. We've got the tyres that they will be starting on screen at the moment, and let us know your thoughts in the live chat. We already had 3 comments before we even got going. We had Nathan saying, "Hi JB and everyone, happy race day." Happy race day to you, and well, it's always going to be a special race day. And David saying, "Best track in the USA, hope it delivers a banger." I cannot agree more. I'm really hoping that this race is to be that banger that you mentioned. We've had a very interesting season to INDYCAR, and I feel like there's been a lot of calmness at times. There was a couple of rounds where it's like, where is the caution, where is the safety cars coming out? But we finally found ourselves with, of course, on the back of the Indy 500, we've mentioned it a few times, where the season kind of comes alive from that point onwards. So that is this point, and it means that we're set for some incredible race. There should be a lot of action, there should be a lot of overtaking. The start is always very critical as well. The run that the drivers have down into turn number 1. As we mentioned, of course, a rolling start. If you are new to INDYCAR, it is great to have your company, and you're absolutely going to enjoy. If you're a regular, then welcome back, and you know how it works, and you know how exciting this series can be at this specific racetrack. We of course had the Indy Next race that took place earlier on. We were on air for the warm-up directly before that. But yeah, Louis Foster shocking the world. Absolutely shocking the world. I've got no other way to explain that to you. Louis Foster did so well yesterday, and he did it on used compound of tyres, which I find quite remarkable. I was commentating an esports event at the exact same time, and I was of course streaming. I've been streaming the entire weekend for you, but I had the stream on my laptop on the side, which I apologise that there wasn't any cameras, and that's the exact reason why. But Louis Foster, when I saw his name, I'm like, okay, well, even if I don't really follow the season religiously, I can tell, my word, rookie taking pole position. Something definitely is going to happen today, I think, was the feeling. And as I'm, of course, doing this entire weekend, I definitely had that feeling. Now we can finally throw it over to the battle screen as well. And a battle screen which, as you can see, we don't have one camera working, but we do have 3 at least coming your way. And this is the great thing about Road America, that we get trackside cameras, and it is the 9th race out of 17 of the season. It's a 4.014 mile road course, 14 turns. You got 55 laps, that is 220.77 miles. And our winner in 2024, take a guess, was Will Power as well. Will Power doing absolutely brilliantly. Let us know in the live chat whether you were watching that one and whether you joined us for that one a year ago. Will Power doing an absolutely brilliant job there as well. Christian Lundgaard starts in 5th. We're currently looking at him right now if you are synced up with us at the moment, and he'll be definitely looking to try and produce a spectacular race for himself. McLarens, they've looked very, very interesting throughout. I remember when I was commentating the race earlier on this season, the second round of the season it was, where McLarens were in contention, 2nd, 3rd, and the McLarens had been running in those positions for a while, but Alex Palou was able to find the response. So Alex Palou, he does things differently. He does things very well. You could be getting a McLaren domination. You could be getting them 1 and 2. He will go there. He will pass them. And he will do something extraordinary. That is the way that Alex Palou functions. I described him as the champions of champions earlier. That's exactly the way he operates. And it's always great to see. Which it means that Louis Foster's goal and challenge is even harder. It's so much trickier. And the pressure is definitely on to say that he has got Alex Palou alongside. So that is really going to show Louis Foster's class and Louis Foster's talent of the way he approaches this. Because it's going to be like nothing he's done in his career before. The pressure, everyone in the grandstands here for this specific race at a circuit which already in the live chat we've had described as one of the best in the USA. The immense talent that Louis Foster has, I think, will be on show. Even if it's not the win, which, I mean, some will say that, you know, he may have a chance, but at the same time, you do have to remember the drivers he has behind, the experience. You can get pole in qualifying. In the race, so much more. So many more factors come into play. So much more is done in the race, which just makes it a lot more interesting and can usually make it quite a lot more chaotic as well, as we get ready for them to leave the pit lane and make their way through as well. Here I am, Omi, up here in the commentary box at the moment as well with you. Just me and you at the moment. We're hopefully going to have quite a lot of fun together with our lovely track cameras. And we're going to definitely be in for a very interesting race. I think it is fair to say as I just get everything nice and set up for you. Should hopefully be able to get the top camera. That's not currently come into gear, but I think that will come into gear very, very shortly. Do not worry about that one bit. So, in row 14, we're going to run you through our grid for this contest. We find ourselves starting at the back, of course. So we'll just scroll down for you. It's Jacob Abel, who starts in 27th. Stingray Rob is in 26th. He's alongside Scott Dixon for Chip Ganassi Racing. Alexander Rossi is in 24th. It's Kiffin Simpson in 23rd. Renus Wike has the possession of 22nd. Connor Daly's in 21st. And then it's Christian Rasmussen in 20th. We have Devlin DiFrancesco in 19th. Santina Ferrucci is in 18th. Schwartzman starts in 17th for Prima Racing as well. Not the lead Prima though for Robert Schwartzman. Colton Herta is in 16th. Marcus Armstrong is in 15th. It's Ericsson in 14th. Nolan Siegel is in 13th. And then it's Rosenquist in 12th. Pato Award is in 11th. Newgarden's in 10th. Arlott's in 9th. Powers in 8th. Malukas is in 7th. Rahal is in 6th. And then it's Lundgaard in 5th position. Scott McLaughlin's in 4th. Carl Kirkwood's in 3rd. Alex Palou is in 2nd. And I mean, I think you know by now. That Louis Foster is the driver who starts on pole position. So, here we go. Just finalizing everything for us at the moment. And this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting stuff. Let's momentarily, as I've lost my pictures, let's momentarily throw it down to INDYCAR Radio while we get them back.
Row 14.
Jacob Abel, Louisville, Kentucky.
Row 13.
Stingray Rob, United States.
Scott Dixon, New Zealand.
Row 12.
Alexander Rossi, United States.
Kevin Simpson, United States and Cayman Islands.
Row 11.
Rinus VK, the Netherlands.
Connor Daly, United States.
Row 10.
Christian Rasmussen, Denmark.
Devlin DiFrancesco, Canada.
Row 9.
Santino Ferrucci, United States.
Robert Schwartzman, Israel.
Row 8.
Colton Herta, United States.
Marcus Armstrong, New Zealand.
Row 7.
Marcus Ericsson, Sweden.
Nolan Siegel, United States.
Row 6.
Felix Rosenquist, Sweden.
Patricio Award, Monterrey, Mexico.
Row 5.
Joseph Newgarden, United States. Callum Milo, United Kingdom.
Row 4.
Will Power, Australia.
David Malukas, United States.
Row 3.
Graham Rahal, United States of America.
Christian Lundgaard, Denmark.
Row 2.
Scott McLaughlin, New Zealand.
Kyle Kirkwood, United States.
On the outside of row 1.
Alex Palou, Spain.
And starting on the pole.
Louis Foster, Odium, England.
Today's starting lineup is presented by Advance Auto Parts, the official checkered flag of the NTT INDYCAR Series.
Well, our pit reporters really busy off the top, getting the inside from many of the field of 27. Let's find out what they'll be talking about today as they have a busy day ahead of them, covering 55 laps and all the pit stops that we expect. Let's start with what Joel Sebastianello you'll be watching today.
Thank you, Mark. Sure, it'll be a busy day for Kyle Kirkwood. He is in the middle section of pit lane. He is our most recent winner in the Siemens Andretti Global Honda. Going over the wall for the 27, the outside front tire changer is Ryan Sandlin. Outside rear, Nate Randall. Inside front, Ryan Clark. Inside rear, Brian Brown. Air jack, Scott Marks fueling the right side, Jack Turner, and in charge of tear-offs is Thad Volt. Kirkwood is a 5-time IndyCar winner. Last week on the oval in St. Louis, 4 times on the streets. Starts third.
Yeah, absolutely. And it would be indeed for him as we bring you back over to the main screen as I've got pictures back, luckily. Here we go. As we have the cars trundling around the circuit. This is going to be exciting stuff. We are getting ready. And we have the track temperature at 150. The humidity's at 62%. The sun is out and the sun is shining out. Illuminated on this circuit. We're getting ready for the XPEL Grand Prix. And this is exactly what I was talking about and discussing. Louis Foster. This is a moment that he is going to savor. His first ever pole position. His first time leading the field of the NTT IndyCar Series down towards that first corner. It's about to come his way. We've got 6 sets of primary, that are the hards. We've got the 5 sets of the alternate, that are the softs. We had that graphic on screen a couple of moments ago for you as well. And it is going to be interesting to see what they will make of it. They continue to all push on around the circuit and navigate their way through. Graham Rahal right now is just navigating his way through around this circuit as they all try to generate the tyre temperature before we get ready to go to the green flags in the NTT IndyCar Championship. But the machines of Colton Herta, watch him. Let's see what he can do. Herta's always a driver who's there or thereabout. We of course mentioned the graphic in terms of the tyres that everybody is on. We had that on screen and you've currently got it on screen right next to me. That way? That way? There we go. There we go. Got there in the end. We'll have Jake Sanson joining us once he is here. Right now you've just got myself, just me, which I do feel bad for all of you. We're on board with Kyle Kirkwood if you are synced up with us at the moment as well. Kyle Kirkwood has had right now 20 starts in Formula 4. He had 9 wins in that category. 2018 he was part of the USF 2000 and he was able to get 12 wins in that in 14 starts. I think it's quite fair to say that he is a really, really talented driver. We're getting ready for the green flags very, very shortly. Just to help me call the action until Jake Sanson arrives. Megan has joined the call. Hi, Megan. We're just getting ready and preparing. This is one of the best circuits in the USA. So if you're here to watch the start, then you're going to be definitely treated to some great action. That's if we can hear Megan for the moment. I think she's just sitting in behind. But she will be here in a moment's time. But yeah, she's just here to momentarily help me and assist me with this. Just so you don't have myself as well. But keep an eye on... Well, keep an eye, of course, on the run that they get. And Kirkwood could possibly try get the jump. Sometimes it can be the driver in third. This applies to all sorts of racing as well. It can sometimes be the driver in third, because Foster will of course get his foot down. When he does so, could give the opportunity for Kirkwood to attack Palou. A reminder that Palou and Kirkwood are the only two drivers to have won races this season out of the 8 that we have held. This is our 9th race, and could it be Louis Foster? Could it be Scott McLaughlin? Could it be Christian Lundgaard? So many of these names are thrown in the conversation, so it really could be absolutely everybody. So let's find out who's it going to be. Will it be possibly even Graham Rahal? So many contenders, but it is INDYCAR. It is possibly at one of the best circuits, so everything is definitely a possibility. We're going to get track audio for you, but it's Louis Foster next to Alex Palou, and these two are about to find themselves going neck and neck, wheel to wheel, as they prepare and get ready for what is going to be the start of this race. What is Louis Foster going to be able to do? This is going to be the first of 55 laps. Louis Foster, the rookie, about to take us to the green flags and to the start of the XPEL Grand Prix. When is he going to take his foot down and take us to racing speed? They climb up the crest, they make their way down the straight, and Louis Foster takes us to green flag, and we go racing for the 9th time this season. A great start coming in there from Scott McLaughlin, already attacking down the outside. Louis Foster maintains the lead into turn number 1. McLaughlin's feeling brave, he's sending it around the outside. Will he be able to get there? It's wheel to wheel as we go through the opening couple of corners of this one, and there's going to be contact further back, and we're going to get a spinner immediately off into the gravel trap. So we're going to have Malukas, who's dropped down there. So he's had issues, and he finds himself spinning out. Let's see whether he'll be able to continue. Still, it is Louis Foster at the front of the field, and he has got cars for company. There, going down the inside is Lundgaard. Lundgaard having an attempt to the inside. He wasn't able to get there, though, and it's going to be the order as we make our way through this first opening few corners of this one. Is 55 laps in total, as we mentioned, around a circuit that requires lots from these very, very talented drivers. Foster, though, has got the advantage at the front over Palou. Then it's Kirkwood in third. McLaughlin is in 4th position. We're still waiting for the order to update itself, but disappointment for Malukas. He would have been really excited to be sitting that pole position, and now he will find himself trying his absolute best to see whether he can get back in. We've got the caution out, meaning the racing speeds will be reduced, and we will get to take a deep breath after all of that one. Let us know your thoughts in the live chat on that start, as Malukas' car will be repaired, so that's him done. That is him out of this one. And you've got Palou, who's dropped behind Power at the moment, as we take a look at a replay. So we're looking for Malukas. He is further back, and he is going to just be directly behind Lundgaard at the moment, where he has that spin. On board with Scott McLaughlin as well. We're just waiting for our order to change itself and update itself as well, so we're able to get all of the information at the moment. Scott McLaughlin found himself with a very interesting start, moving on to 2nd place. So there is our order updating. I mentioned how Scott McLaughlin was really going for it at that start, and he absolutely was. Carl Kirkwood in 3rd position, as Malukas' car is removed from the gravel to the tarmac, just so it's easier for the safety team to get him out of the way. They're trying to give him a little bit of a push to see whether he can trundle it back as well. So that'll be quite interesting. But the gravel is being shattered all over the circuit, of course, with that car that was off the road. So we'll confirm everything that happened at the start in a few moments' time. But it was exactly what Foster wanted. He came under massive pressure from McLaughlin. I think we have to be honest with that one. So he came under massive threat there, but it was a threat that he controlled. And that, I think, was exactly what I was talking about in terms of the talent that he holds, does Louis Foster, that he was able to control that one. And, of course, we had Alex Palou dropping majorly back. We mentioned how he started on the front row. I mentioned how there could be other contenders directly behind who get ahead. That was exactly how it played out. So a very interesting start to the contest. Megan will be joining me in a second as well, once she just quickly has her food. It's not what she expected to be with us. Jake Sanson, though, is slightly delayed, so he'll be coming and joining us very, very shortly as well. And if you did join us last time, you would have seen Jake Sanson joining us halfway through that race as well. So it's working out quite nicely. Jake Sanson absolutely loves joining us halfway through. But yes, today, unfortunately, he's stuck in traffic, so there is nothing that he can do, and last time out he had some gigs. Don't worry, we'll get Jake Sanson on for a full IndyCar broadcast at some point. It will definitely happen, and he absolutely loves being with us. And it was great to have him, of course, at Le Mans. And this was a race, of course, quite late in the night. It was around 1 AM for us in the UK, and we found ourselves with a very interesting prospect with Kyle Kirkwood emerging as the winner. And exactly what I was saying in terms of he's very good at the streets, but you can't call him a street circuit merchant anymore due to the oval performance, and he wants to also add road courses to complete the trio as well. And I think that can properly establish himself as one of the good drivers if you're able to do that across these 3 different circuits, because they all require different tactics, they all require different skills. So if you're able to produce all of that and you can combine them together, you can find yourself then in a very good position, and definitely can be considered as one of the greats of this current field of IndyCar drivers. So we look with Helicam as we take a look at the replay of the start. So Alex Palou went backwards. Immediately on the attack there was Scott McLaughlin. He went charging round the outside. Down the inside tried to go Kyle Kirkwood. He wasn't able to do so. Foster placed it brilliantly in the middle, so no one could attack him from the left, no one could attack him from the right. But when the road opened up and they went a couple more meters through the next few turns, McLaughlin had a chance. Once again though, Louis Foster placing the car perfectly. And then of course further back we had the contact for the number 4 of Malukas, who had that big moment. And he wasn't the only one actually spinning around as well. So this is the first time we're properly getting to see actual replay. So it was actually a lockup from Jared Malukas, who went into then the back of Alex Palou. So that's disappointment for him. And that's what happened for him at that start, as they were all battling their way through. So we're waiting to go racing once again, as Christian Lundgaard right now makes his way through the driver who's in 4th position. They'll be discussing plans, they'll be discussing absolutely everything at this stage to be able to see and to be able to talk about how the different drivers approach it. But the pit lane is quite busy, so pit road is definitely getting quite a bit of action. We'll take you over to the battle screen as well, so you're able to see some of that. So we've had drivers come into the pit lane there, and it definitely does show you how drivers are utilizing this caution at the start and utilizing this caution to their advantage to be able to get back out. There's a bit of racing actually further back, so they're all fighting it out. So no one is taking it nice and easy. They're all fighting and debating at the moment in terms of who can gain positions, because of course you're not overtaking on the circuit, but you know, if you can just barge your way ahead with the releases from your team once you've done your change of tire compounds, it is something that absolutely the drivers will do to try gain themselves places. But we've had a caution, and it's always that part of the circuit, the opening few turns where we saw David Malukas have that moment. It is every year we come here. It's something similar to that basically happens, where we see a car usually spin it and lose it round. So it's not the first time, and it definitely won't be the last. But it does mean that we have to wait a little bit more until the racing comes. We're on lap number 3 out of 55. Of course, this road course is quite lengthy for these drivers, which is why we've only completed 3 laps so far out of the 55. And of course, if you combine it with the factor of that we are behind the safety car. But I'm looking forward to seeing whether McLaughlin can try and make the move on Kyle Kirkwood, or will Kyle Kirkwood be able to hang, or will Louis Foster rather be able to hang on to that position. But it's so good. It is so good to be able to see what Foster was able to do at that race start, and that's exactly what the British driver would have wanted. And he of course found himself as the 2024 Indy Next champion. And when you find yourself as an Indy Next champion, your promotion comes to IndyCar, and they expect you to be quite a good talent. As we make our way then through the final few corners on this circuit. It is time to go. Racing once again. The green flags are going to fly with Louis Foster at the front of the field. Scott McLaughlin, though, closing in as he slipstreams his way towards the rookie. He pulls to the outside line. Let's see whether he can get past. Down into turn number 1. It's going to be Scott McLaughlin later on the brakes, and he arrives to the braking zone, taking P1. It is not the only battling we've got. We have also got Power up against Palou. Meanwhile, Lundgaard trying to get past Kirkwood. So there's a couple of battles going on. Meanwhile, we've also got Eilert. He was just able to defend up against Rosenquist, but Louis Foster found himself losing out, and I think McLaughlin's intent was at the start to take the position. He couldn't do it. His intent was on the restart to do it. He was able to get through, and the overspeed was enough there. Critically for him, late dive bomb incoming from Will Power down the inside of Alex Palou, and Will Power is going to power away past. Palou drops down. Meanwhile, Lundgaard to the inside of Kirkwood. Brave move, great move. That's Kirkwood who loses out and drops down to 4th. Lundgaard takes 3rd position. All action start, and the road course is delivering the action that we want. Now Kirkwood still looks in his mirrors because Palou is right there, or Power rather is right there along with Palou, and Rahul now finds himself in 7th, Newgarden in 8th, and then we have Rosenquist who was trying to get his elbows out further back. He's in 9th, and it's Callum Eilert in the Prima who is in 10th position. So they make their way through, and it's really tight between Will Power, Alex Palou pulling out of the slipstream. Wheel to wheel those two drivers go. Who's going to arrive ahead into the braking zone? Palou is going to find himself through, and it's going to be Power who got past Kirkwood. He got past Palou, and it's absolutely incredible stuff, and somehow Palou's back ahead of them both again. Remarkable couple of corners where Power sent it up the inside of Palou, but he somehow got ahead of Kirkwood at the same time, and then we have Palou taking it back. So that's just a remarkable couple of corners. Oh no! Off the road goes Robert Schwartzman in the Prima, and he finds his way into the barrier, and that is tyre barrier damage there as well. Disappointment for the Prima man. He was starting further back, and he went round, looped it round. Oh, he'll be disappointed with that one. Robert Schwartzman off into the wall. Will we need a red flag? That's the question, because the tyre barrier is damaged. If it was a Formula 1 event, of course we would most likely see the red flag coming out. But in terms of my experience with IndyCar, as you can probably tell, isn't as great as JB or anyone else, because well, I've done IndyCar a few times, but I've never done it as lead, and as I mentioned, I don't religiously follow this. I do watch the highlights, but not religiously. I just love watching a great thing on a Sunday night usually, and I'm usually helping out sometimes with the streaming as well, and now you've got me commentating over it. So yeah, do let me know in the live chat of what you think about that one. I know there's been lots of discussion, especially when Palou found the wall, wasn't it? A few rounds ago, I think it was at Detroit when he found the wall there. There was a lot of talk and conversations that came in. And JB was mentioning in the commentary box. To be fair, it is quite deep down there. I'm interested to see what will happen. So SW saying, hello from Las Vegas. Thank you for the stream, no worries. Great lap from Foster there, and Palou had a tough one. Yep, absolutely. Palou had a tough one dropping down. And yeah, it is hard to brake and turn while you're going down there, which makes the challenge hard. And that's exactly what we're talking about. All of these attributes make up this Road America circuit, and that is why it's considered one of the greats on this IndyCar calendar in terms of road courses. And anyone would like to be the victor of this specific race by the end. And well, the cautions immediately being shown. So we're only on lap 5 and we've already got 2 cautions coming your way. Don't worry guys, we are going to get some good racing, but it's just because, you know, I'm solo at the moment, so they want me to do a bit of yapping. 34 Celsius temperature there at the track. Yeah, it is absolutely really hot, and I think that's already visible even by just looking at how much the sun is coming out and pointing at this racetrack as well. So it's definitely very interesting to see how that is all playing out. So let's confirm your order then. Let's confirm your order properly on what we saw on that safety car restart. McLaughlin's at the front. Louis Foster is in 2nd position. Lundgaard is in 3rd. And it's a good thing I'm looking at this now, because I've just seen that the cameras have gone off exactly when I'm looking at it. That happens, by the way, at random. One of our cameras is not working. So that's a disappointment. So that's why we've only got 3 compared to earlier on in the weekend. We've had a few drivers come into the pit lane, and we'll just throw you down to the battle screen momentarily so you can see who those drivers were. So it was Malukas, it was Connor Daly, it was Alexander Rossi, it was Kieran Simpson, and it was Pato Award. Continuing with what I was mentioning in terms of our order, McLaughlin, then Foster. So we of course saw the change between those 2 drivers. And then it's Lundgaard in 3rd, Pallou's in 4th, Powers in 5th, and then it's Carl Kirkwood in 6th, Graham Rail is in 7th, Joseph Newgarden in 8th, Felix Rosenquist in 9th, and Callum Ilott is in 10th position. So a very interesting order down there, as these drivers find themselves rejoining the ones who've just found themselves into the pit lane. As you can see, they've just left the pit lane, and we've got their pit lane times as well. That's very nice. I don't get that luxury in Formula 2 or Formula 3. Of course, all of you will know if you watch those series that are mostly down there. We don't get pit time. Lucky you guys then. Oh god, okay, right. Back to the action, So, in total there, we had 4 cars, or 5 cars rather, coming into the pit lane. And we'll throw it back over to the main camera screen as we keep you updated in terms of what's going on. Let's take a look at a replay then. It was Omni fighting absolutely everywhere. It was Power up against Palou. Watch this then. Into the braking zone. You've got Carl Kirkwood there. Power so late on the brakes. Past Palou. Past Kirkwood. Runs Kirkwood out wide. And it basically is going to let Palou past both of them. So it's like, okay, that's worked out very interestingly. So yeah, it's so interesting. Palou further behind. Power goes in deep. Runs Kirkwood out wide as well. Palou just has this through goes moment. And says thank you very much. Instead of losing a position, it's gaining 2. Gaining 2 for the champion-elect, and the one who definitely looks like he's heading to the crown this year. As we take a look at them making their way through, Carl Kirkwood currently, who found himself dropping down majorly. He was the driver originally running in 3rd position. He dropped down massively. I can see that Fox are right now annoying people with commercial breaks. We've got the caution, but yeah, they definitely are utilising that. Luckily, Sky Sports giving us full coverage with the excellent and friend of the show, Tom Gaymore, as well on the commentary for that one. So we'll have a safety car at least for another lap at the moment, the caution. How you guys love referring to it as well. So McLaughlin is going to be the leader this time around. Foster could be under threat from Lundgaard. Keep an eye on that. I want to see more of Palou and Power. The evidence of what we've seen so far, I want to see more of them. And of course, Palou and Power both on different strategies. So differing strategies there as well. You've got the top 3 who all find themselves on the same, though, at the moment as they make their way through. And currently find themselves just continuing to run. Award, one of our contenders earlier on this season, fighting away for certain wins. Wasn't able to get there though, as we mentioned. It's only been Kirkwood and it's only been Palou who have been victorious this season across our 8 rounds. This is the 9th round of the NTT IndyCar series, and it's a 9th round which is about to hopefully see the resumption of this race. But my god, I have to say, CGR, Alex Palou, car livery. Guys, you do realise that I'm not an IndyCar expert. Like, you're really telling me that, of course, you introduced it last time out. You introduced it a week ago, but the one livery that I don't need to be watching, that I basically just can watch one IndyCar highlight and I immediately know what Alex Palou's car looks like, gets changed and gets similar to Real Power, and then it's like, guys, you do realise I'm still trying to learn liveries as we speak. That is just fun. I can tell that it's probably already catching out normal viewers of IndyCar. Of course, I'm kind of like a livery identifier expert, but you know, this is my first race as lead commentator, and only my 2nd race that I'm doing this season. So it's like, you know, it takes a little bit of time. But I do, of course, F3, F2, Porsche Super Cup. I've done a bit of F1 Academy, and then I do GB3, Italian F4, which was on, by the way, and has 40 cars racing around Monza. So I think you can tell what challenges I'm faced. This is literally nothing, but for me, it feels like the hardest thing I'm covering all year, due to the learning process and procedure that goes on, and I wasn't expecting to be commentating in this way alone for the moment, but that is the case. But I'm happy to have your company. That is what allows me to keep going and continue waffling your way as well. But luckily I won't just be waffling about useless things. You can just see them going through the bottom camera at the moment, and they are about to get going and get racing once again. Scott McLaughlin gets his foot down, and the green flags will fly as we will exit through lap number 7, head on to lap number 8 as they all take the wide line. Who is going to be making the move? Palou looks close to Lundgaard as we run down the straight. Can Palou put some pressure on? The wheel to wheel though will be coming our way further back at the moment as we make our way down towards the first corner. Can we avoid a caution as we get down there? Lundgaard got close to Foster, could not get by though. So they're all in formation flying at the moment. Now, Lundgaard, does he get a chance? He is really tucking directly in behind. Meanwhile, you've got Newgarden and Rosenquist battling. Nolan Siegel around the outside. He goes off Callum Arlott. The only remaining Primo in this race stays ahead. And Siegel couldn't get by. And it means he's under pressure, actually. Further back, he finds himself under threat. Meanwhile, here comes Alex Palou. Down the outside he goes of Lundgaard. Lundgaard squeezes him to the apex. Will Power thinks about an opportunity there. Can't do it. Oh, that's going to be very slow off the corner and losing a position, surely in a few moments' time. So one of our contenders dropping down the order. You had, of course, Newgarden involved in some of the fighting. Newgarden improves to 7th. So Newgarden improves a position. Rahal drops down to 8th. So that's going on at the moment. We're battling all the way through. That's millimeters away from contact in the mid-pack. They're all extracting everything around this circuit. So they're all going for it and showing their class and showing their talent. As we get ready to complete 10 laps in a few moments' time. A race which has been behind caution for the majority. It's good that we're getting some green flag running in at the moment. Pato Award has got a chance though. Award trying to go on the attack. Is he going to be able to do so? Let's find out. He's got Jacob Abel directly ahead. Abel runs slightly deep into the corner. He kind of placed the car in the middle, so Award couldn't find a way by. But Abel, the rookie, placing the car where he needed to basically that time around, and his reward is to stay ahead for the moment. So nice stuff there. As meanwhile, here comes Lundgaard getting closer to the rookie Louis Foster. The reigning Indy Next champion has to look in his mirrors. If he looks in his mirrors now, he will no longer see the McLaren behind, because Lundgaard moves on through and he goes to 2nd place in the race. As he's not the only one. We've got another move coming in further back. So, we had Stingray Rob, who just made an overtake as well. So that was further back in the field. And Power is seeing Kirkwood directly in behind. Kirkwood just kind of moving, just being large in the mirrors. Sometimes it's the tactical game of trying to scare your rival off the road. Just put your nose in there just so they can run a little bit deep. And talking about running deep, talking about running wide, we are seeing some side-by-side Nolan Siegel down the inside. And Nolan Siegel will improve a position. He gets past Colton Herta. So nice stuff there. And I think he was defending from Rasmussen as well at the same time, I should say. So Rasmussen is the car directly in behind. IndyCar loves yellow/orange liveried cars, doesn't it? You gained rich livery, of course, further back. We've got the McLarens as well, which are easy to identify, luckily, at the moment. So, if we look at positions gained, lost since the race start. McLaughlin's gone up 3. Lundgaard's gone up 3. Foster and Palou have both lost 2. Power has gained 3. Along with Newgarden. Kirkwood has lost 3. Rosenquist has gained 4. So he's one of the big gainers of the start. As well near the front of the field. Robert Schwartzman, of course, is the only retirement so far from this race. So let us know in the comments your thoughts on the safety car restart we have just seen in the green flag racing that we're getting currently right now. Could be green flag racing, which sees Palou and Foster go wheel to wheel. Well, we were expecting this battle to come our way on the opening lap, but it was a slow reaction. It was a slow reaction for Palou. He dropped massively. He's trying to recover some of those places now, and he's trying to recover them and go on the charge. of Foster, which is what we mentioned. He's just trying to, Foster will be trying to maximize his results. Okay, yes, he had a great day yesterday, but today for Foster is about trying to maximize the result, and sometimes you have to think about the bigger picture, especially when you've got our championship leader pulling alongside, but Foster will defend this one absolutely perfectly, and he comes over to chop across Palou. He's still out there to have fun. He's still out there to do his race, and do his race to the best of his ability. Massive accident. Into the tyre barrier we go, with the number 77 there, dropping down the order. We are going to see Stingray Rob find the wall in a big way. The safety crew are already out there to him, but a big crash, which sees him go into the tyre wall, and that's another tyre wall that's been destroyed, and it gets pushed forward a couple of centimetres. It is the crew are there to check up on him, because that's a big incident. We cut to it while he was spinning round and basically losing the car. My word, massive crash there. Massive accident for him. Let's take a look at a replay. So, he was trying to go on the attack. Oh, he was directly behind another car. Lost it. Made a late decision. What was he going to do? Was he going to dive to the inside? Was he going to dive round the outside? Instead, loses the car and then finds his way into the wall on the left-hand side and then slides against the wall. We cut to it being at very high speed at a dramatic angle as well. We knew it was a big one. And then the speed, of course, leading him down into the tyre barrier. So he lost it under braking there. The Stingray Rob, not what the number 77 car wanted. Not what he wanted at all. Quite interesting. But great to see that the safety crew, can I just say, especially after what we saw last time out, especially after what we saw last week, a great, excellent job. A great, excellent job by them. It is so important, especially in a series like INDYCAR, where we race around ovals, where we race around challenging circuits like this, and street courses as well. The danger level is always there, and it's important that when you are seeing great battles that end in contact, or big crashes, you are able to get the crew immediately out there to go and check up on those drivers to make sure they're okay, and equally also get the cars out of the way as soon as possible to mean that we can go green flag INDYCAR racing. And they're immediately there clearing that. A big incident, but one which definitely is going to be very interesting to see how it is going to affect things. But that's another caution. That's our third caution off the race. I think it tells you the story we've had so far. But you have to remember, there is likely to be more incidents in INDYCAR compared to Formula 1. And it's not really even down to a driver factor. To some degree, I mean, a lot of times in Formula 1, when anyone gets near each other, there's usually contact. You see that between the top contenders a lot. In INDYCAR, like we've seen many times, we can have great battles and not have any controversy on the side. Just great, pure motor racing. And we were talking about this in Le Mans with Jake Sanson especially, and he's going to be joining us in a few moments. But Jake Sanson was discussing and talking about how, you know, the action isn't in Formula 1, it's in stuff like the World Endurance Championship, it's in stuff like this. When the drivers are closer to each other, there is a higher chance you're going to get moments like what we've seen. There's a higher chance you're going to get more contact, just because there's more likely to be an overtake, there's more likely to be a pass, there's more likely to be craziness, let's just say, because everyone is so close together in INDYCAR, and you have the push to pass, you have the different things that the drivers have at their availability to try and make progress and to try and make overtakes. So in a series like this, you can absolutely expect quite a lot of carnage as well. I wonder how many cautions we'll get to by the end of the race. I mean, we've had INDYCAR races. I remember 2023, the finale there, we had, what, 10, 11, 12 safety cars as well, and I wasn't even commentating that. But I just remember on the top of my head how it was a caution-filled race. We've already got 3 by lap 11. It's important to remember, though. It's not like an oval or it's not like a short circuit. So lap 11, still it's been a long time since we've been racing. And we're going to see a lot of the field into the pit lane then. Who goes round again? So a few drivers go round. You'll be able to see in a few moments' time as everything will update itself. So a few drivers going round. We'll move it over to the battle screen. So you're able to see. So Dixon continues on. Award continues on. So does Rossi. So does Kiffin Simpson. Everyone else comes in. Abel will go round once again. So will Malukas. So will Daly. So will Renus Rike. So everyone will exit themselves back out onto the racetrack. And the third caution is a perfect opportunity to change your tyres and get back going. The IndyCar pit lane is like we're about to begin a motor race with the way that's looking. Absolutely brilliant stuff as they make their way through. So that's everything that's been going on in the pit lane. They all fight their way onto the circuit in an absolute gaggle of them all making their way through. So quite incredible as we take a look at a replay of that big moment for Stingray Rob. And you know, when you cut to it in that way, it can be quite scary. Where you've just got, where all you see is in that moment a car out of control up against the wall. You know it's big and you know it's about to completely destroy the tyre barrier. But luckily, of course, it's not a concrete wall, and I mean it's quite obvious why it is not. And why we have a tyre barrier means the driver can get out of the car, walk away unscathed, which is exactly what we like to see. So Scott Dixon then making his way through. The order, by the way, will update itself in a moment. It of course updates laply, which was getting me confused, I'll be honest, in the opening lap. You may have seen that I said Pelot momentarily near the end of that opening lap, but the reason was I basically thought I miscalled the race start and I misidentified the drivers. So it's like, oh, so I went with that, but then I noticed, oh yeah, it's updating laply. So I'm like, okay, actually I called it perfectly. Great. Yeah, because I saw McLaughlin charging, so it was like, oh, good, perfect. So I wasn't wrong on that opening lap. So we have loads of strategies that will be meeting in the middle. This is going to be a frenetic restart with a lot of the field now having come into the pit lane. It's going to be frenetic. It's going to be quite chaotic and quite interesting at the same time. Let us know your thoughts and predictions and your thoughts from so far and your predictions moving on and moving forward in terms of who's going to win this race, because it's still in the balance and we still don't have a clue because it's the NTT IndyCar Series. I would love a motor race that goes all the way to the end. That is what we want to see. That is what we love about IndyCar racing. It's all good having a lot of wheel to wheel, but we all want races to go the distance. You always want to not know who's going to be the winner till the end, and that is why we absolutely love about racing in this category. We have Bully mentioning Lundgaard as a possible winner, so quite interesting to see that one. Yeah, could definitely be Lundgaard, and it will be very interesting to see whether we're going to get a third winner in the NTT IndyCar Series as well. After this year, we found ourselves with only two of them in the name of Alex Palou, which I don't even think I need to name. I think everyone knows that Alex Palou has won this season, along with Carl Kirkwood. Joseph Newgarden has been a contender when it's come to the Indy 500 many times, and has been one of the greats when it comes there. Can he maybe do something on a road course? Also, you of course have to keep an eye on, I mean, you can never count out Alex Palou in terms of what he's going to be able to do. But I probably feel like that it's really close and the action is great. Which I've been watching the highlights, I've been watching selected moments of the races live where I can when I'm not covering other series. And yeah, from what I could tell is JB's been having to definitely waffle quite a bit, like I am having to right now at the moment. Which, I mean, when we're staying green, I feel like I'm having to do less and I can actually focus on the on-track action, and you're getting moves, you're getting drivers getting their elbows out. And IndyCar racing is, it's what it's supposed to be. Drivers getting their elbows out, fighting hard fighting and hard racing, and it can be a great way to end a Sunday, basically, after dealing with and watching the amazing action at Formula 1. And talking about watching the action, the fans right now out there watching at one of the great circuits in the USA. And I think now joining us and joining the call, we've got Jake Sanson. Hi, Jake. If we can hear him, I think he's just going to get set up. I think he's just going to, we're just going to let him get set up momentarily. But the good thing is we are behind this caution at the moment as the field generate the heat into their tyres as well. So it's Dixon, Award, Rossi, Simpson and Jacob Abel right now, your top 5 at the moment, as we're about to hopefully resume this race. But the good news is Stingray Rob walking away, and that's what we like to see. And Robert Schwartzman was a retirement earlier on in the contest as well. So now it's over to the remaining 25 in a race which has already seen 3 cautions so far, and we're about to get the green flags back illuminated around this circuit with Dixon at the front of the field. But keep an eye on the drivers further back who will be trying to go on the attack and trying to make some moves as well. But here we go then. Scott Dixon getting his foot down as he brings it out of the final corner. A bit of a slide, a bit of a wiggle there for Pato Award as well, the driver in second place, as he got his foot down, and immediately we're going to be seeing a move as Kyffin Simpson up alongside Rossi heading down towards the braking zone, and you're also going to be seeing further back a lot more action going on. Malukas gets ahead of Jacob Abel, so a couple of overtakes as we arrive down into the first turn. A few cars running wide further back as they all duke it out. Remember, we've got drivers who've made pit stops, so the field is all bunched up and change, which means you're going to get aggressive dive bombs absolutely everywhere on this circuit, and that's exactly what we're seeing as we run wheel to wheel momentarily. Scott McLaughlin going on the grass as he tries to make some progress in this race, so he's really trying to go for it as we arrive to the next corner on the circuit. McLaughlin sending it around the outside, and that's going to be brave stuff. He's up against Lundgaard, of course, and we've got the gravel and the dust being kicked up as some drivers run out wide, and now we're going to get Will Power diving it up the inside as well, and he's to the inside of McLaughlin. He has to slot in behind, so McLaughlin still holds that position for the moment as they bring it down into the braking zone. So, Power currently finding himself a driver on the charge on that restart, I think it was fair to say, and he's still got McLaughlin ahead, so that will still be a goal that he will keep for himself, and he will try his absolute best to see what he can extract and do. But talking about that, he finds himself running slightly wide, and he will find himself dropping down a position, and that will be Kirkwood, who powers away by, and he's not the only one. Will Power still is going to be forced out wide by Kirkwood, to be fair, and that is also then going to see the opportunity come in for Alex Palou, who makes his way through. The second time that he's made a double overtake due to Kirkwood being involved and being forced out wide along with Power as well. So it's happened basically once again, different part of the circuit, different phase of the race even, we could say, due to the safety car and the restart we just had as well coming into play with that, as they continue to push on. Lap 15 out of 55 of this IndyCar NTT race. It's the 9th race of the season. I've momentarily lost pictures up here in the commentary box, but we'll hopefully get those back momentarily in a second as we will continue the action. I think actually that's IndyCar. Never mind. IndyCar has gone down themselves, I think. Hold on. Yes. There's been an issue down there at IndyCar. Well, we had that strange thing where everything went down a few rounds ago at the circuit, and we've found ourselves with a similar issue as everything has gone down. So there we go. We've got the confirmation. It's not our TV pictures, but everything has gone down. We've got a temporary fault. Is IndyCar Radio still operating is my question. No. Okay, so once again, we're the only feed. Never mind. Everything's back. Good. Thank God. We've got the pictures back. I thought for the second time this season, I was going to be... JB Motorsports were going to be the only people who actually had coverage. So IndyCar Radio went down as well. Just going to open it to see whether it is back actually at the moment. No. So they are still... So they're still trying to sort their thing out. Was it another just complete breakage of the circuit? But honestly, no. When you see that still image, and considering the issues we had at the start of the broadcast, it is the last thing that you want to see. A moment like that. But yeah, you currently have myself, Omi, in the commentary box. You'll have Jake Sanson in a few moments once he's ready, and you have Connor Daly making a move and taking 6th position. He's just got ahead of the rookie, that is Jacob Abel as well. So they are still on the 15th lap. So to be fair, you've not missed much when we had the issue at trackside. So everything is back with us at the moment, which is exactly what we want to see, because it's been a good race, and it's not a race where we want to miss a second of. Stingray Rob is there, who is debriefing and discussing with team and with media as well. Lundgaard's got past Abel as well. So let's take a look at a replay for the moment of Stingray Rob, of course, that he had earlier on. Huge incident, but he's walking away, and that is the critical, important thing at the same time. So he's now debriefing, explaining what happened, and he will definitely look at all of the data and see and analyze everything that happened with this team. And you are going to see mistakes like that as Rinus Rike gets up to 8th position, so he improves a place as well. It is still Dixon and Pato Award, and I'm just taking a look. Last time they made their way to the... So I was about to say it was 1,000th of a second between Dixon and Award, but that was a timing graphic issue in terms of the last time that was recorded. So I was going to say that we absolutely missed that. Round the outside goes Will Power, trying to make a move, and he wasn't able to do so. So Will Power was trying to find his way by, couldn't do so though. So that's a dramatic few moments for him as well. And we've got Scott McLaughlin trying to make a move as well in the live picture right now. Getting to the apex first. It's close to contact, but Scott McLaughlin will make his way by. And I think that was on Venus Rike that he was able to pass in the background there. As we now cut over to the live action in Road America. And it was indeed the case for them as we make our way through. Just going to quickly check in and see if Jake Sanson has joined us by any chance.
Yes, I have, Omi. Good to see you.
Hello, Jake. Great to have you with us as well. We're seeing some fantastic action and fantastic racing and seeing some 3 wide here at Road America as well. As we see Palou trying to get to the inside line. Couldn't do it. He has to back out of that one. I was, of course, just waiting to see if you were ready. But luckily, you are ready with us and you are now joining us. It's been a very interesting race. 3 cautions is what you've missed so far.
We've had a very interesting start to proceedings. Lundgaard being able to make a good early impact from P5 up into P2, but now on the back foot down in P7 behind Connor Daly, who clearly wants to make up for what happened to him last time out, and it was an opportunity lost there once again for him. But very impressive performances so far in the midfield. The Prema once again trying to get itself up the mix there. That's Callum Eilert trying to get in the back there of Felix Rosenquist trying to make progress. So far we've already lost a couple of drivers, including Stingray Rob and Robert Schwartzman, of course, early doors. On board there to keep an eye on our man in 12th position, Will Power. 15th position now, of course, Will Power. We were on board there very briefly with Colton Herter. Got access to team communication at the moment, or at least I certainly haven't, but battles continuing on as we ride on board with Will Power, who I have to say yet again so far, Omi, here at Road America, he's having a very scruffy time of it. This is not Will Power's season.
It really isn't, and I think with the way that we're seeing the driving and all of the defences and attacking, I think it is really not going his way, and it's not resulting in his favour either, as well as we had in the live chat, Osiara asking what happened to the broadcast. I think everything went down trackside for a couple of moments. Everything is back though, luckily. But yeah, that was a circuit issue, I think, which meant everything went down, including INDYCAR radio, which we momentarily tested. So that's what was going on with that one. Jake, do you have your camera by any chance?
I do indeed, actually. We'll see if we can get it working.
Yeah, no pressure if you can't. There we go.
There we go. We have my camera working on this occasion. I'm fascinated to see if this is actually going to be a potential first race of the season for, of all people, Alexander Rossi. I think he might have something in the bag here. We've seen already Dixon and O'Ward obviously trying to put out a decent run, but I think there might be some potential here for Rossi to go a little bit further. Oh, big moment coming off the turn there as we had several drivers getting crossed up there. Palou able to take full advantage of an issue there for Newgarden.
Yep, he absolutely was. So, the frenetic action that we saw earlier on, it continues here, and it continues to be so dramatic, which is exactly what we wanted after some would suggest that we've possibly had a bit more of a calmer start to an IndyCar season due to what Alex Palou's been able to do. But he finds himself definitely still in contention today, but having to do a lot more hard work. But Jake, the incredible thing coming into this race was, of course, exactly what we saw with Louis Foster taking that pole position yesterday, and he found himself in contention for this race starting on pole position. But right now we see Alex Palou getting past Scott McLaughlin into the braking zone, and that will be a move that Palou will complete. So Palou gets ahead.
Incredible how things have changed so dramatically. But now with Scott McLaughlin, we ride on board as he tries to make a little bit more progress. Interesting how the big guns, or most of the big guns I should say, in this one really struggle to make an impact. Other than Dixon and O'Ward, it's been fairly hard going for the competitors that have been so consistent in the first part of this season. Alex Palou, though, is steadily working his way back up the order. P9 now in the Hunter VK. We're only on lap 19 out of 55. Do not count out Alex Palou. Look at the season he's had so far, and on a road course like this one, in the season he is having, this is yet another opportunity for him to storm his way back to contention.
Yeah, he's got the opportunity, he's got the chance once again, and it's exactly what we were mentioning earlier, in terms of how he's able to just get himself back up into contention, even though it might be a race where, for example, earlier on in the season where McLaren were running 1 and 2, he was able to chase them down and also make the move at the same time. So he demonstrated multiple times that he's got the racecraft, he's got the talent to be able to produce stuff like that. So it's really great to be able to watch and see a driver who is so capable and so talented. As I mentioned, we described him as the champions of champions. That's the way Alex Palou works and drives, and it's really great to be able to watch him every single race, and especially in this type of race where he's not just dominating out in front, he's having to work for this one, and he will have to work with this one all the way till the end of this.
So now, what are Simpson and Malukas going to be able to bring to the party here as well? Firmly inside the top 5. We're going to see a replay. This is Newgarden getting it wrong on the way through on the inside line. He just overshoots and messes up completely on the exit. McLaughlin goes with him, so the Penske's both end up colliding with each other on the exit as well there. Newgarden actually caught his teammate while he was trying to rejoin. I'm surprised that's not going to be a puncture for McLaughlin. Let's look again. Dives in, runs wide on the recovery, but he actually hits him on the way back. We didn't really get to see that from the onboard. I wonder if we'll get a chance for the back. But look, there's going to be contact. Bang. There's the slightest little nudge. I wonder if McLaughlin could end up with a slow puncture as a result of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That will be quite interesting. We've just sorted Jake Sanson's audio as well for you. Just made it a little bit higher as well for us, which is great to be able to see. So
have I, fortunately.
Perfect.
So, yes, so have I.
Lovely. So we should have a perfectly sounding Jake Sanson now, luckily, on the broadcast for all of the lovely viewers watching on as well. We had a prediction coming by Bully, who was mentioning how he thinks that Lundgaard could be the winner by the end of this. Jake, I'd love to know your thoughts on what you think about the prospect of that being the case by the time the checkered flag falls.
He certainly made fantastic progress from what was, of course, 5th in the initial work. The fact that he was able to charge his way forward up to P2 certainly shows like he's got some legs in this race. I'm a bit surprised he ended up falling down as far as P7, but look, his early pit stop put him out of sequence. So let's say, for example, he's got himself a chance here to make a little bit more headway if he's just a little bit more patient through the next stint. We're on board with Nolan Siegel. So Nolan is obviously going to be trying to force his way back into the top positions once again. On the back foot after an early start. Right, into the pits comes O'Ward. So this is going to be fascinating to see what Pato O'Ward can do to jump the Honda-powered Scott Dixon up front.
Yep, that'll be interesting to see whether he'll be able to do so. So he's going for the undercut approach on lap number 21 of the race as he comes down pit lane and will be heading into his grid spot in a few moments' time. He'll be over to his crew to do the best possible job to get him back out there, and he'll be hoping then for the best outlap that is possible as he does try to jump Scott Dixon. So off go the tyres, on they go then. Of course, you have one person to the wheel at the moment, a bit of fuel put in, and then he's back out there in a few moments' time, and then it's all down to him once again to be able to push on and push on hard as he tries to continue to drive and attack Scott Dixon. He wasn't able to get through on the circuit even though he was following a second behind for the majority of the race. Let's see whether the pit stop phase will be able to change that.
We're going to see a big dive on the inside line further back. That's going to be Ferrucci on Rosenqvist. So a very good remove there indeed from Santino Ferrucci. Now has he got the legs to go after Colton Herter just up in front? Santino Ferrucci trying to dial down that little bit of rage that he's carried with him these last few seasons. Certainly looking a lot stronger these days than he has been in previous campaigns. As we ride on board with Rosenqvist now, trying to work his way forward. Meanwhile, Simpson has now fallen back into 5th position behind Malukas and Palou as a result of, I think, another pit stop shuffle. Palou is now in P5, so he's definitely making that headway, isn't he? But it's all, of course, going to come into play again when he makes his appearance at the pit stop.
Yeah, that's exactly going to be the case as Callum Arlott makes his way through. We're currently looking at him in our picture at the moment. If you are synced up with us, Arlott, the only remaining Prema. He was the highest starting Prema as well, as we make our way then out on the circuit. Scott Dixon then comes into the pit lane. So this is now the vital bit. We were discussing how important it's going to be. Scott Dixon versus Pato O'Ward, and this is now the critical moment.
Rossi and Malukas have chosen this moment to come in as well. So it's going to be fairly critical when they come out in relation to Pato O'Ward. It's going to be fascinating to see where the McLaren is going to phase out. Out goes Dixon, out goes Malukas. Into the pits comes Joseph Newgarden as well. So it's going to need to be some fairly fast and fluid motions there at the Penske team. They're just checking over the right front end plate of his wing to make sure that he didn't pick up too much damage in that little contretemps as they come out onto the circuit. Newgarden trying to get himself back up to speed as he exits the pits. He's obviously going to fall in towards the tail end of the charge, but out in front, Simpson looking good.
Yep, all looking good for Kyffin Simpson at the front of the field. And of course we are now getting the phase where David Malukas continues to try recover. He was the driver who of course was the reason for the caution on the opening lap, and we had him spinning round as he was battling. We always have usually a spin and we've got a car into the wall. Connor Daly.
Oh no, that's so unfortunate for Connor Daly. I just wanted to try and let the gravel trap clear to try and figure out who it was, but Connor Daly, he's tried to make the move here on Malukas, gone for it too far. Oh, he's just overshot himself and unfortunately lost the back end of the car. That's it, game over.
Yep, absolutely, and that's the risk versus reward stuff. Threw it down the inside, found himself going out deep and into the wall, and we will once again then find ourselves with a caution. Surely our fourth caution of the race it will be as well. But yeah, we will get the recovery crew back out there. I was just praising them earlier on as well, especially after their work last week, Jake Sanson. It's really, really important what the safety crew do. And it's so great. Their response times are absolutely remarkable as well here for these events at INDYCAR.
Yeah, that fantastic documentary that was brought out a few years ago, that if you haven't seen, by the way, folks, definitely worth having a look at. The brilliant documentary, Yellow, Yellow, Yellow. It really is a brilliant watch to kind of see all of the ins and outs about how that safety team works, how it operates, how it's evolved over the years. But these guys do an absolutely fantastic job. Right, caution has been called then, Omi, at the point where Kyffin Simpson leading the way from Alex Palou, and then, of course, Lundgaard in third ahead of VK and McLaughlin. So this will be fascinating to see where these guys are going to phase back in as a result. Well, they managed to tow Connor Daly's car out, but the hook is still on the car. So he's still got the tow cable attached to the diffuser. Oh, now that's a very comical return to form then for Connor Daly. Clearly he kept his engine running. As soon as he was clear, he wanted to get back into it. But that's one of the more comical moments in Connor Daly's IndyCar career.
Yeah. Definitely one that will go in the highlights reel of those funny moments for him as well. Quick information to everyone watching on. As you can see, the live timings, they're still suggesting lap 15 and all of the data is. So I'd assume when everything went down on the circuit, it has still not come back to us in terms of the IndyCar website at the moment. But luckily everything's updated on the world feed pictures as well.
Well, it's an interesting one, Connor, isn't it? He's going to have to limp back to the pits and get a check over just as well, because they're going to need to get that ticker tape style tow rope extracted from his diffuser. What is going to be the main factor of this caution period now is how long into the race after the caution period can the likes of Lundgaard, Rinus van Kamphout, and of course Scott McLaughlin, how far can they go in the next phase of the race? Also worth keeping an eye on the likes of probably Rahal. I would think Kirkwood as well is obviously going to be one to watch out for. And then of course as well Santone Ferrucci. Amazingly, Connor Daly not pitting. He's got a broken front wing. Never mind what's happened to him with the tow rope. And he's going to have a puncture heading down to the first corner. He has missed the pit, and that is a very disappointing mistake, in my opinion, for Connor Daly. He really should have come into the pits. Look, he's got way too much damage. This car is probably going to park it in exactly the same place at the foot of the back straight.
Yeah, forget about what's going on at the back. There's more concerning issues definitely at the front with that tyre and the front wing. So, yeah, it's a big mistake and it's a costly one as well. He'll be hoping that he can trundle round, and he's still giving it full beans basically. He's still absolutely driving that rapidly. But let's hope he's able to make it back to the pit lane next time by.
This is a big mistake. Let's see what's happened. Look, essentially he's been given the command to wait by the marshals, and he's just driven away. So Connor Daly, very angry. The marshals obviously were not ready for him to go, so Connor Daly just put his foot down and drove off. So that is something that the officials might well throw the book at him for. And now it is, of course, as we expected, a very hectic and busy pit lane. So this is going to benefit all of the drivers that pitted before. So Dixon, O'Ward, Rossi, Malukas, they're going to work their way back up the order. But will the fact that it's under caution give these guys a chance to move further forward? There's Palou getting himself back out onto the course in 13th, ahead of Rahal and Will Power. So yeah, anybody that pitted before the caution period, well, they are looking pretty set right now.
Yeah, they are absolutely looking quite set indeed at the moment. So we're seeing a lot of pit stop action, as you would expect in the caution periods. We've had 4 of them so far, and we of course had the big crash for Robert Schwartzman earlier on. We had the big one for Stingray Rob. That was the cause of 2 cautions as well. We had the one for Malukas spinning round earlier on in the race, and this time it is Connor Daly who has caused it. He's still continuing on as he tries to bring it back into the pit lane. We're completely relying on the information that we're getting as well from the wild feed due to the timing still not kicking into gear after that. And I'm just going to quickly double check whether INDYCAR Radio even has returned, and and it looks like it has. So INDYCAR Radio has been able to get their systems back and running to still provide some commentary for everyone who is listening in there, and a huge thanks to them of course for taking us through all of these sessions across this weekend while we were covering about so many different series.
So how is this going to affect the remainder of the race as it moves forward? Foster of course has managed to get himself back into the top 3 through the cycle, but Lundgaard, Rosenqvist and Foster have all elected not to pit. The safety car is going to come back in at the end of this one. So with the pace car returning to the circuit, you're going to have Lundgaard, Kirkwood, Rosenqvist, Foster, Armstrong and Eilert all on the back here to a certain extent, looking to try and find a way to resurrect their race, knowing that everyone behind them has elected to make the pit stop and only sacrifice a handful of places. Dixon is P7 now, O'Ward is P8 and Alexander Rossi P9 ahead of Malukas in P10, but that's only going to be a net top 5, isn't it? Because there's only 6 cars in front of them who have elected not to pit. We're going to get back into the action this time by, as Christian Lundgaard is going to get us out of position. I've wanted to do this for an IndyCar race for about 8 years, but we are going to go into race conditions once again as they come off the final turn and charging up the crest at Road America. It is green, 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 green here in the NTT IndyCar Series. Now, can Carl Kirkwood take on Christian Lundgaard early doors? He's already putting the pressure on him, and up they go to the first corner. Carl Kirkwood is not going to wait around here. He's going to drive right round the outside of Lundgaard, and he'll steal it at turn 1. But he's going to run wide on the exit, and this could be a chance for Lundgaard to come back at him. There is a very close moment as Lundgaard gets back on the grass and retakes the lead on the inside.
Kirkwood hit the front only for a moment though. Lundgaard finds himself going straight back into P1 as Kirkwood ran out wide, as Kirkwood tries to complete the trio of winning at ovals, of winning at street circuits, and now he's trying to immediately go back on the charge. As we make our way down to the braking zone, he will back out of that one, as we also at the same time review a replay of that moment. But Kirkwood on the charge on this safety car restart, and immediately he is though getting the defense from Kirkwood as cars are absolutely scrambling all over the place in the background.
4 cars running wide there at the foot of turn 3, and it's a couple of others who are choosing to take avoiding action as we run wide a couple of times over. It was the Honda of Hendrickson, I think, trying to keep himself out of the mix there. So we're going to try and see how it all continues on the far side. On board again with Newgarden, trying to close up on Pato O'Ward. Rossi has got ahead of Pato Award on this restart. So very opportunistic then for Alexander Rossi, although it looks as though Rossi's actually tumbling down the order and then going back up again. Our timing screen on the live feed does not appear to be going well. And as expected, Connor Daly, for his rather bombastic return to form, has got a penalty for his incident. Let's try and see what happened in the midfield there. We might get a moment here. Colton Herta's run wide. So too did McLaughlin, I think. So a couple of other drivers trying to take avoiding action. Several drivers running wide. But I think in the middle of all of that, that was why we saw Pato Award losing out there to Alexander Rossi.
Yeah. So that is why we saw the switch there, but as you mentioned, not surprising that we get the penalty coming in for Connor Daly. Meanwhile, in the live action, we have Arlott, who was absolutely battling his way through as he tries to keep his foot in, as we just continue to review some of the replays of that chaotic moment on that restart that we had in the absolute brawl that they were, with cars going left and right, as we continue to see the battling go on with the live picture as well, the picture-in-picture if you are synced up with us at the moment in this race.
Several drivers getting just a little bit too spicy at the foot of the back straight there. Lundgaard in front of Kirkwood. Rosenqvist, very side-by-side run there as Pato Award tries to keep himself in position. It looks like our pictures have gone down again momentarily, but we have managed to get them back again just as we get Joseph Newgarden diving up the inside to make another strong overtaking move as we go to the hairpin on the far side that just continues on that long flowing right-hander in behind Dixon. This is, of course, so Newgarden up into P8. Don't forget Newgarden pitted, so this is Joseph Newgarden on the warpath. If he can get past Dixon, that basically puts him as the new net leader, as Rosenqvist is now trying to shake off Foster.
Yeah, so he's trying to get past our pole sitter from this race, and also, of course, the reigning Indy next champion. And the way that Foster approached the start, I think, showed his skill and talent that he was able to demonstrate many times last year in the Indy NXT category, which was in action earlier on a few moments ago. As we take a look at the biggest movers in this race, Scott Dixon up 18, we've got Rossi up 15, Jacob Abel, the rookie, up 13 as well. Those are the three drivers with the most positions gained as we continue some of the racing as they throw it down into this complex of circuit, as we now should have in a few moments Jackson Lambrose also joining the commentary as well.
So as we continue to battle away for position, we go up the back straight here, down towards turn 3. This is where Connor Daly skated off the road a short while ago, managing to recover, but of course he has picked up a penalty after that incident. Going to try and go right round the outside of Joseph Newgarden. We're both going to run wide here, so Newgarden is going to run right into the path of Malukas. Malukas is now going to dive up the inside and pick up the pieces here, but is it going to stay that way, because we've got a couple of drivers all fired up in that particular moment? Alexander Rossi dropping all the way to P10. Alex Palou is the next one to try and take him on. So Rossi really running the gauntlet there on the far side of the course as he loses the position first to Newgarden and then to Malukas, but Alex Palou is not far away from repeating the feat.
Yep, and we welcome into the commentary box. We also welcome now Jackson Lambrose into the commentary box as well, which you'll be able to see in a few moments' time as I just get him in. It's been an interesting race. It's been a chaotic race as well, Lambrose, and it's great to have you now with us in the box.
Yeah, watching the replay here from, I believe, Alexander Rossi working the long way around at the bottom of the hill. A little bit of a lockup from the front. Now, this has been a phenomenal race. I feel like we can finally say we're getting some good road course racing from the hybrids, but strategy has already blended so early. First prolonged green running here, and a lot of drivers who pitted early. Scott Dixon, David Malukas. It's a whole new ball game for them, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. As they come over the line. Lap number 28 of the race. We go on to Lundgaard comes into the pit lane. Foster's in, and so is Callum Arlott.
Looks like a look to the inside from Kiffin Simpson there as we watch the 7 go through service. Very quick stop there. Had the car completely off of the jacks there the minute the fuel probe was out, as it looks like one of the Premas is going underway. It's the only Prema now. It's Callum Ilott, Felix Rosenquist, and Louis Foster, who was, by the way, in 4th, so still very much in this thing.
There's a very good opportunity for Foster now, isn't there? He just needs to keep himself head above water and in the fight, essentially. Callum Islet's not done and dusted from this yet. Look at how the leaders from the previous iteration of the pit stops come out. Pato Award really trying to charge his way further forward in there. Lundgaard obviously coming out in the middle of all of that as well. So it's all going to come down to where Lundgaard phases back in to figure out just how much time has been gained there from the undercut. Currently it's Kirkwood in front of Marcus Armstrong, then Scott Dixon, who is now in third place. But the man for me to watch out for now is Joseph Newgarden, having forced his way ahead of the likes of Malukas and Rossi before we even had the pit stop for the likes of Kevin Simpson and Scott McLaughlin. We've now got an opportunity here for Newgarden to work his way further forward. Palou down the order. There's definitely a couple of cars here having some issues with their timing screen graphics. Will Power trying to work his way further forward as well now, Army. And this is... Oh, has he got a spin? Has he spun it around?
Oh!
Will Power, what a season he is having. Nothing is going right for Will Power in 2025.
Wow, absolutely extraordinary. We were mentioning how Will Power's had an up and down race. It's been an up and down season, and it's another big moment as he finds himself looping it around.
Minimize the damage there, was able to get it going once again. And we'll see if this is the sign for him to throw in the towel and come into the pit box, as Kyle Kirkwood and I believe Marcus Armstrong are doing the exact same. Such a paramount stop here with Kirkwood to stay in this fight, and an interesting strategy call as well, as the softs Jake Sanson are telling me this is not going to be his last stop of the day.
I think there's a lot more to this race strategy battle than meets the eye, as there goes Lundgaard through past the pits. We're going to rejoin right in front of the path of... Now, is that going to be Rossi trying to make his way back? No, my apologies. That is going to be Kirkwood rejoining there in front of Rosenqvist. So Rosenqvist is going to have a little bit more momentum coming off of this set of tyres, but obviously trying to get them up into speed. Rosenqvist wants to make sure he's got a good run. How committed to this is going to be the real factor here for Rosenqvist. Round the far side, can he outbrake Kirkwood? Beautiful.
Oh.
Excellently done there by Rosenqvist. That's one of the moves of his year.
When you drive every single car under the sun and know the absolute limits of mechanical grip and brake limits, stuff like that becomes incredibly easy. A veteran move along the outside there, and one of the most challenging braking zones. Only down the hill, all the fronts want to do is lock up.
Yep, you don't want to be doing that at all as well, but he was able to get it controlled, and that's the critical thing. Controlled moves around this circuit, definitely ones that these drivers will want to throw into their highlights reel as well, and we're seeing some great overtakes, some great passes, some great dive bombs throughout this one. And as you mentioned, Jackson, when you joined, we are really getting some good racing, some good road course racing as well this season for the first time properly, which is great to see. And as we mentioned earlier on in the season, it's kind of like after the Indy 500, everything just starts to come alive in INDYCAR.
We start with some very tight and technical circuits, right? The streets of St. Pete, the streets of Long Beach, a very, tight and twisty club circuit in the form of Thermal Club. High tire degradation, you don't want to see people taking too many risks. We've now got the American Park of Speed here at Road America, some of the longest straightaways, the longest circuit on the IndyCar calendar, and that means you can really use that momentum, double dip on push to pass and hybrid power, and really see a kind of racing we have not seen here in Elkhart Lake in a very, very long time.
Out of the braking zone, these three still looking pretty mobile at the moment, aren't they? Here's Scott Dixon leading the way, 1.6 clear of Newgarden. I thought there was going to be a little bit more punch to Newgarden's stint here. He's carrying the weight a little bit of his number 2 car. Malukas is still there in third ahead of Rossi, but Palou is ever threatening again. How does he find his way into the top 5 in the right moments at the right time? He is just so good at positioning himself exactly where the Chip Ganassi team wanted to be in exactly the right moment. You watch, we're only on lap 30 of 55. We've only just gone past the half distance mark. There's still plenty of opportunities here for Alex Palou to find even more from this race.
Now the big question though, Omi, is where is Kyle Kirkwood and Pato Award in this kind of championship picture? This was going to be potentially a lot of points on the board after Gateway to close that gap even further. We got trouble.
Malukas!
Joseph Newgarden
it's Newgarden lost it. Newgarden lost it coming out of the final turn, Jackson.
Looked like I think it was just a little bit too much right foot. I think got that back rear Firestone into the grass and went right around. He'll be able to get that car refired, but this is a trial by fire for all of the new guys and girls on the number 2 pit box. He's able to get it restarted under hybrid power.
It's grabbing at the back.
Jake, you look at the back left, there's for sure damage to the suspension.
Yeah, it's dead. It's gone. I'm afraid the suspension is over for the Penske number 2 of Joseph Newgarden. What a shame. It was a big impact at the rear of the car, and that is game over for the former champion. Joseph Newgarden is out of this race. Look at that. Such a disappointing sight for the Penske fans, and it's very clear at the left rear collapsed. You can see there that the actual track rod holding the car to the suspension, it's already bent in place. That's going nowhere. Goodbye, Vienna.
Two-time race winner here at Elkhart Lake was looking for number 3, and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad 2025 continues for Team Penske and Joseph Newgarden. Alexander Rossi, God, you really, really start to dig in the cranium for the last time you've seen the Nevada City or Carson City native stand on the podium. But if he fends off Alex Palou and holds off that strategy, you know, it's possible that we see an Ed Carpenter back-to-back podium.
What did Newgarden have his hand in the air for midway through that lap before he had the accident? Yeah, look, he's gone in big time. There was no way he was going to be able to recover that with the kind of impact that he had on the right rear. He just completely bails out of it. He's gone very early on the throttle, takes out the Firestone marker, and bang, into the tyres. There is no way you're ever going to come out of that in one piece.
Yeah, that is always the case. You cannot afford to be able to lose the car in that way, get over to the wall, and then continue on in that way. It was definitely Newgarden who found himself with that big moment. We were very happy to see him continue on, but it was very clear as soon as he got his foot down that the rear of that did not look intact. The car was crabbing as well, and the team now are only left to review a damaged car, and a race and a chance that has faded away right near the halfway mark, right after the halfway mark of this race. We're on lap number 31 out of 55. Our live timings still haven't kicked up into gear. We are refreshing and trying absolutely everything to get that working. We're still on lap 15 where everything went down trackside, and yeah, the work will continue, and that is though going to be major disappointment coming into play for that team.
And of course, Newgarden's disappointment is going to be Alex Palou's gain. That's going to move him up another place. Joseph Newgarden and the team, they seem to be trying to get this repaired. They're going to try and get him back out onto the circuit. Are they insane? There's no way that car is going to be in a good enough position to race with that kind of impact at the right rear of the car. And even if they think they can repair it, they're going to be spending at least 3 laps getting it done. There's no way on a circuit like this, on lap 32 of 55, that any decent points are on offer now, as we rejoin the field behind the pace car, of course. So now it's all going to come down to who's got the best shot of who's remaining. Well, again, I hate to say it in the season that's seen so much domination for Alex Palou, but I do not understand, Jackson, just how lucky this man is. He must have a rabbit's foot buried in the pedals of his car.
This is the way the cookie crumbles usually in terms of IndyCar. Just the oracle that some strategists have and the ability to cycle yourself to the front of the field. It's hard for us to really say what a fantastic job some of these guys have done. I mean, obviously, some guys are deserving of their flowers to kind of be in the picture at this point. But guys, we're just now halfway into this race, and already I'm running out of fingers to count how many cautions, how many incidents, how many wrenches we've seen thrown in the gears of so many people's strategies. We're still in this point here, especially at a place that breeds insanity like Road America. Anything could happen.
Yeah. And have we had more cautions than Detroit as well, than what we had earlier on in the season? It definitely looks that way. It definitely looks that way as well at the moment. But I had to fill a lot of those cautions earlier on in this race solo. So yeah, I'll definitely not forget those ones. But yes, great to have your company, Jake Sanson, and of course Jackson alongside me for this one. And it's turning into a very interesting race when we're getting the green flags. But the restarts, Jake, are always very interesting and always can see quite a bit of action. And sometimes it's a story of cautions breed cautions.
You need to watch Alex Palou on this restart. He's now in third position in the line, and this is an opportunity knocking for him to really push on to the lead. Another man that's worth keeping an eye on this restart, while we're on the subject of it, is McLaughlin. He's got a chance to make some progress here as he currently runs P4 behind Alex Palou, so he's definitely worth a shot, as to is Santino Ferrucci in the jet black number 14. We go up the crest, and once again it's green here at Road America. Watch for Alex Palou. He's already hunting down Alexander Rossi as we head for the first turn. He's going to have an opportunity. He's certainly closer to Rossi than Rossi is to Dixon. He's not going to get the launch, but Santino Ferrucci's going to go in hot. Surely that's going to run him out wide, isn't it? The back end kicks out. Ferrucci gets it stopped and plants it into P5. That is incredible from Ferrucci.
Santino Ferrucci, late on the brakes, went for it, was able to get it slowed down and take the position. So that's a brilliant effort and job well done for Santino Ferrucci, who gets past Kiffin Simpson, who drops down to 6th. And it was Palou who was looking at Rossi. Wasn't able to get there though. Dixon still at the front of the field as we continue to make our way through. Lundgaard going for it up against Ericsson as well.
Back up the hill, trying to go up to the top of the crest. We're getting a few decent choice moves coming off the turn there. Oh, a bit of a run wide at the back of the field. There's a couple of drivers trying to get out of position. That pit stop did not work out well for Foster, did it? He's really dropped back in the pack, and that was a big lunge on the inside line there from Pato O'Ward, who's trying to pick up the pieces after his most recent pit stop. It's worked out perfectly for Dixon. It's worked out horrifically for Pato O'Ward, who now finds himself right in the depth of the pack. So this is where he's got to try and make up the progress all the way down to P16. Just think, it wasn't that long ago that he was dueling with Scott Dixon for the lead of the race, Jackson. This is not going to give him enough of an opportunity to charge back, surely, with 22 remaining.
It's going to be a matter of what you can do with the resources you've been given. And again, Jake, with how many cautions we've seen and how much of a mid-pack melee it's consistently been here at this point, the battle could very much come back to him. It's just going to be a matter of time until we see the crossover in strategies for a lot of guys. The grip goes back in favor for the guys running on hards. There's so many different factors here that could put him back into this battle, but he's absolutely down on the count right now.
Herta running side by side there into the first corner as they run in close proximity. Ray Howell getting the run on Colton Herta, and watch out for the man in 9th position. It's going to be a tough one for Rinus van Kamphout, who runs himself into 9th position, trying to work his way further forward. It's going to be an interesting bout down the charge. I think we're going to see another interesting move as they climb up the crest once again. A little bit of a run wide at the expense of one or two of the competitors in the field. Coming up the crest again, is that Pato O'Ward on the move? Oh, and a run wide. So that has gone very badly wrong indeed for Marcus Armstrong, hasn't it, as he tries to filter his way back into position there. So big issues then all the way down this top 10 pack as we watch again the number 5 Pato O'Ward trying to make decent progress here. It's now Rinus van Kamphout who is causing him a bit of an issue in the way there, Romy. This is not what he needed.
Yep, absolutely not what he needed at all. I've just tried refreshing our live timing. Still no luck with that one. We're momentarily on battle screen, but actually we're going to switch it over to the camera screen for the moment, because I can pretty much tell you that there's nothing that you can really get from the battle screen. So we'll put it on that screen for the moment while we wait for Jackson Lambros to return as well. But it's been an interesting restart and a continuation here in the NTT IndyCar series. I would like to thank absolutely everyone who stuck with us through some of the technical difficulties earlier on as well. And with just me even broadcasting you the race, it's my first time ever doing a bit of IndyCar properly in terms of lead commentary, and doing it solo can be quite difficult thrown in there at the deep end, but luckily we were able to get to it with a couple of cautions as well. I'm now happy to have the amazing masterclass person that is Jake Sanson alongside as well, who is now basically carrying the show.
Bless you. More sort of limping with it rather than carrying, I would say, especially after an incredibly long week out here in Abu Dhabi and the Yas Marina circuit, watching the young engineers of the future in their F1 in Schools program. But it's going to be an interesting dive up the inside as we look towards the mid-pack. A big couple of moves coming through. Oh, as Callum Eilert tried to make the move there, and Rasmussen runs wide as a result. That's going to give a couple of drivers a bit of benefit there. Certainly Devlin DeFrancesco and Nolan Siegel pick up the pieces of that one.
Yep, absolutely. And they will continue to battle it out, and this is the moment where the drivers will start to assess and see where the opportunities are to try and make some overtakes and try to fight back as well. And they will continue to work on that in communication with their team. And we have had so many times in IndyCar where the drivers do have to think about that risk versus reward factor, where they go for some moves, because the last thing you want is to end up like Conor Daly, where he went for a dive bomb, found himself off the road. So it's important to remain in this race because there could be so many opportunities. We've seen so many cautions. There could be a lot of that later on, and we're going to get another
contact!
And we're going to get the commentator's curse in full effect as well.
Well, it was always going to be an inevitable problem there, I think, with the pack really dialing up. And yet again, it's Nolan Siegel. What does he have to do to change it? No, it's Christian Lundgaard. It's Christian Lundgaard who got involved in that. I thought it was Nolan Siegel, but it is in fact Christian Lundgaard. Let's see what happened. He's running wheel to wheel there. Is that Colton Herter? It is indeed. Herter's on the inside line. And they both drift out wide. It's enough for Christian Lundgaard to kick out. And unfortunately, he's speared right across the rest of the field. So it's Christian Lundgaard getting it very badly wrong as he tried to go right round the outside there of Colton Herter. He got onto the dust, but he was hitting the accelerator at the same time. So it wasn't quite the collision we thought it was, but certainly not what Christian Lundgaard needs at this stage of the season. Don't forget, he's one of those drivers that could really use a decent result to make sure that the team continues their restored faith in him. But that was a big error in judgment for Christian Lundgaard.
Yeah, big misjudgment indeed, as they were absolutely battling their way through. And it was Christian Lundgaard finding himself losing the car, spinning round in that McLaren car as well as he makes his way through. And we will continue to push on. And I'm happy to say we've got our systems back working. Everything has started to work as well, and we've got our live timings back in action, and we'll of course bring you over to the main camera screen in a few moments time once Jackson Lambros has returned back up here in the commentary box. We're on board if you are synced up with us with Felix Rosenquist as he now tries to assess and see what he can do. The driver running in 9th, he's got Colton Herter directly ahead. He's got Will Power, who's had a very up and down race behind him in P10. So he's right now just finding himself stuck in this little battle as we come over the line. Palou continues to be close to Rossi, and Palou is going to definitely try be a contender and do what he does so many times in IndyCar and get his way back to the front.
Another man to keep an eye on in this phase is going to be Santino Ferrucci, all over the back of Scotty McLaughlin at the moment as we ride on board. This is one of the earlier incidents. This is how close it was to striking Christian Lundgaard's car. Goodness me, you need lightning reflexes, and that was a very tricky maneuver indeed for Carl Kirkwood to get out of the way at exactly the right moment. How close was that?
It was super close. It's also close on the circuit meanwhile as well, as we have Ferrucci with McLaughlin all directly behind in the mirrors, and it's Ferrucci in 4th. McLaughlin is in 5th, so that's a switch that has come into play with us as McLaughlin will try and take that one back immediately. Let's see whether he can still tuck in behind Santino Ferrucci, who made a great move on the restart earlier on. It's been another move that he's completed. So Ferrucci doing well in this race, and we were discussing some of his driving antics previously as well in IndyCar and also in Formula 2, but all seems to be going to plan, luckily, in this race for Santino Ferrucci.
Yeah, he finally seems to be getting it right in terms of putting his car in all the right places. That was the drop back down the order, I think, for Armstrong. Just a slightest lock up, and then that's put him down into about 15th position, losing quite a few places in that one. Once it's assessed, we'll find out if that's going to be a proper penalty or if that's just going to be one of those racing incidents that they just let slide. But look at how tough it's going to be for McLaughlin to get back on terms with Ferrucci. Ferrucci driving a rocket ship around this course.
Yeah, he is absolutely pushing on and demonstrating some of the skill and talent that he believes that he has, and he's showing the rest of the world at the moment as well, especially with that move, as we mentioned in the restart, to be able to get that one slowed down. We all thought it was going to be out wide and it was going to be a disappointment, but he was able to get that one slowed down quite nicely and made the maneuver, and it looks like he's been able to get into some momentum and get into some running in this race as well, which is really, really great to be able to see as the action in the pit lane continues. That was Rossi, who was just coming in down the fast lane as the rest of them continue out there on this challenging road course. And who is going to be the victor by the end of this race? If anyone does have any predictions for us or any thoughts so far in this race, do let us know in the live chat as well, as it's very interesting to hear what you all have made of this race so far.
Just 17 laps remaining around this very tough race circuit, the longest on the IndyCar calendar, as I think it was Omi or Jackson earlier on mentioned. So now we're going to try and file the pack back up again. But Dixon and Palou, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? How is it that Dixon and Palou are just masters of their own destiny like this?
Yeah, it is absolutely incredible to watch and see. We're going to just get our systems back up and running as well. We're going to just go back to the 2-cam for the moment as we await Jackson rejoining us as well in hopefully a couple of moments time as we make our way through around this circuit. And let's see how it's all going to play out then as we make our way through on the 39th tour. As into the pit lane comes Scott Dixon. So Dixon comes in to the pit lane. Perfect timing as we have got our cameras sorted as well up here in the commentary box. Just changed that on OBS. And now you should be able to see myself and Jake Sanson back in action up here in the commentary box.
Dixon blasting out of the pits then. Where is he going to filter out in relation to Pato O'Ward? That is really the key factor here for Scott Dixon to see what kind of a race he can have for the remainder of it. He doesn't want to be spending too long racing wheel to wheel with Pato O'Ward. There is a very surprising sight. Not Alex Palou leading a race in 2025 in IndyCar Series this year. Really has been the Spaniard's own. But he's very much driven into the history books, even for him.
Yeah, and we were discussing how it's been Palou who has been a winner this season. It's been Kirkwood who's been a winner this season, but those are the only two drivers to have been victors of the 8 races that we have had to kickstart this NTT IndyCar Series. And yeah, we had challenging races in terms of, for all of the fans out there watching, some more calmer contests than what we're used to here in IndyCar. But now the season's starting to come back alive as we head to amazing circuits like this one. We've had, of course, people in the live chat mentioning around this place how incredible this really is. Some even believing that this is the best one in the USA. You do have loads to pick from in the USA, don't you, Jake?
I certainly do. It's going to be very interesting to see how these continuations are going to move forward. Palou is just breaking his stride. What is he... What level has he reached compared to the other drivers out there that he just finds his feet? He's now building the gap that he needs, that cushion, to bring himself out in front of the likes of Ferrucci and McLaughlin, although those two have decided to pit now. So it almost forces Alex Palou to change the game plan a little bit here. Of course, all of these drivers looking at what is almost certainly going to be their final pit stops, as into the pits as well comes not only the man in second place at the point of the lead position, but also alongside him there, where I think we also saw dropped into 7th position as a result of that. There's Will Power. So Will Power having the issue. Colton Herta's down pit lane. There's Santino Ferrucci. It's not Colton Herta at the front end. That's Scott McLaughlin. But there is Colton Herta trying to make his way back out onto the circuit in relatively good pace. But at the moment, it is Alex Palou who leads, from Rosenquist in second and Kiffin Simpson in third.
Yeah, talking about Alex Palou, SW also saying in the chat that there was always hope to win against Palou since he never won on an oval, but then he managed to change that at the Indy 500 earlier this year. And as Joshua Birch described it, we had a predictable winner in the most unpredictable race as well earlier on in the Indy 500. The greatest spectacle in all of racing that event is, and it was definitely shown in action with definitely a close battle all the way to the end. While it wasn't a move on the last lap this year, it was one that was closely contested right till the end of the race, and that's what we love about the Indy 500, not knowing who's going to be the victor by the end of it. And I feel like this race has a similar aspect to it, where it still isn't clear and we still have so many hurdles to go. We're on lap number 40 out of 55 for most IndyCar races. The race will be over soon, but this is a long road course, meaning we still have a good distance to go.
15 remaining, including the race lap. We are currently on Palou in front of Rosenqvist until he pits. So Alex Palou pits. Now this is going to be critical depending on where he rejoins the course. He has to make sure that he's in a relatively good position before he does that, because obviously all the members of the team are required to be on standby at the end of the track. Out onto the circuit. There goes Dixon. Right, that's going to be an important one as Dixon rejoins ahead of Palou. I thought Palou might have been able to gain a little bit more time than that, but Dixon moves up into what is now, surely it's got to be 8th position now, hasn't it, for Scott Dixon, in front of the 10 of Alex Palou. Once it all updates, well, they're actually in 12th and 13th, so they've got 3 more cars ahead of them, but quite a few of those are going to be pitting in for the last time.
That will be the case indeed, and that's going to be as Herta gets past Simpson. But the last few pit stops beginning to take place for these drivers. SW in the chat giving his support to Dixon as well, to see what he can manage, to see what he can do, and he is definitely going to be a contender all the way through as we continue to see all of the battling unfold around this circuit, and we get a little bit of wheel-to-wheel action to go with that as well, and we're going wheel-to-wheel at major speed, and that's going to be super late on the brakes as we take a look at, I think, a replay actually for the moment. So that was earlier on in the race with Kirkwood as he went off the road as well. So that was going on earlier on as we go back to the live action now here out there on this venue, and the chase properly begins with those pit stops coming in. So the pit stops now completely change this race, and it means the drivers have their goals set as we continue to see more and more pit stops, the final pit stops for these drivers coming into play, and then it will be a full sprint all the way to the end as Award now comes in.
This is quite an important one to keep an eye on, as there is the number 60 still circulating up at the far end of the field. This is Felix Rosenqvist still leading in front of Kyle Kirkwood, and then we have, of course, Marcus Armstrong. All former drivers in European single-seaters made the switch to IndyCar with a lot of success either this year, last year, or the year before, and it's going to be a very fast run out of the blocks for Pato Award. In the background, you can see Callum Eilert has been released by the team as well. Such a fantastic livery, that beautiful looking car. I always wanted to see a little bit more firepower from that particular machine. But this is going to be an interesting conclusion to the race then. Rosenqvist from Kirkwood and Armstrong.
Yep, absolutely. And we have Jackson Lambros, as you can see at the bottom of screen, rejoining the commentary box. And I think you've joined for the perfect time in this race as it all starts to heat up, Jackson.
A battle we are all too used to here in the past half decade in the IndyCar series. Big jam up the inside from Colton Herta trying to get past Pato O'Ward. And those positions are only going to go down once we see more at the sharp end of the field potentially cycle through here. But Rosenqvist in control, 5 seconds up from Kirkwood.
Indeed.
Back straight. Rosenqvist trying to control the pace. Is he going to duck straight for the pits here? I mean, he is, so this is going to be critical where Rosenqvist filters back in.
Yeah, that'll be the interesting thing. So an important pit stop now coming in for Rosenqvist, the driver who was right now just leading the race, comes into the pit lane for an important pit stop. Loads of these pit stops vital for them to go the way of their drivers now as they try to get themselves back out there to be able to be a contender near the end of this. So Kirkwood also finds himself coming into the pit lane directly in behind. So 2 vital pit stops taking place. It's over to the crews to get those tyres changed and to get their drivers back out along with putting in the extra bit of fuel.
This has been kind of historically where the Andretti Global crew has struggled, and it's a little bit of a slow getaway for Kirkwood to get back in gear and out of the box. What is the blend going to look like here? That's Ferrucci going by in the blacked out Sexton Properties machine. Here comes McLaughlin and others, and it looks like he's side by side with his Andretti teammate of Marcus Ericsson, and will lose that position to the 28. Or excuse me, no, that's the Junko's Hollinger machine. That's Connor Daly. Kirkwood comes out in 12th.
Connor Daly clearly deciding he's not had enough shenanigans and fun and games in this one, making his way back up towards the top 10. Don't forget, before he had his little visit with the barrier and then his little ticker tape run on the back diffuser, he was going very well indeed, as again, another big, bold lunge around the outside. That is fantastic racecraft from a man who is so bitterly frustrated that things have not been going his way this year, but this is exactly how to make a big impact.
Yeah, it's exactly what you need. Being able to make some brave moves as well. And we're going to get another one coming into play as well. So we're getting quite a few overtakes out there on the circuit, which is great to see here in the NTT IndyCar series as well, as we get into the final stages of this race. There's some phenomenal wheel-to-wheel action, and the driver's beginning now to take a little bit more risks, Jackson, as we approach the end of this one.
A lot of big names standing out to me. David Malukas, who despite that early hiccup has absolutely emerged back into this mix. Santino Ferrucci from out of nowhere finds himself in top 10 running. And now Malukas, for the first time tonight, will lead laps at Elkhart Lake. Nolan Siegel on a great recovery drive as well. He's been starving for a good finish after the past couple of weekends, seemingly getting into Scott McLaughlin wherever he's able to find him. But again, it is all eyes on Scott Dixon and the Oracle on the 9-box, Mike Hull, as a lot of these guys still need to cycle through. We are 11 laps to the checkered here, Omi.
Yep, absolutely. We are reaching the checkered flag very, very shortly, because we are going through this race very quickly at this stage. They are all pushing on and attacking on hard, which is great to see as well. And it's going to be very, very interesting to the finish as well. Jake Sanson has to leave the commentary box as well, as he goes to do other things. He's been a very busy man this weekend across all of the action in Abu Dhabi, so he absolutely deserves a break, and we thank him for joining us as we ride on board with Scott McLaughlin, who is trying to now make some progress and continue to make some progress in this race. These are the business laps of this one. This is where the drivers have to get on with it to give themselves the best opportunity as we come near the end of this one.
Just lost that position, actually, it looks like, to Armstrong with a big lunge there at the bottom of the hill. And now McLaughlin trying to swing back, but it's more Ganassi, or excuse me, Honda equipment in his rearview mirrors, as now Kiffin Simpson tries to close in and gain some more spots here in the closing stanzas. David Malukas comes to the commitment line and will come in. What's the response from Nolan Siegel? Does he follow suit and give the reins back over to Scott Dixon? It's hard to tell from this camera angle, but Malukas, who was lifting and coasting, trying to make this strategy work, hoping and praying for a yellow, will not get one. And it looks like it will indeed be a Ganassi 1-2 with Dixon and Palou, and Alexander Rossi back onto the podium.
Yep, absolutely, that's going to be the case at the moment. Palou in second place, as you mentioned, as Malukas comes in. Rossi up to third position. Dixon in P1 on lap number 45 out of 55. And it's still great to be able to see Malukas being able to continue, being able to push after what happened on the opening lap, where he found himself spinning round, causing the caution. He went to the gravel trap, was able to continue on, and it was a critical moment in the race that he could do so, as he now rejoins the road as well. And he rejoined into quite a lot of traffic at that moment, but it's Dixon and Palou not separated by anything. Palou runs out wide as well, kicking up the gravel. That tells you how much he is pushing on right now.
And I think the strategy right now is just have at it, boys, from Chip Ganassi. These guys are both clearly overdriving, maybe Palou a little bit more than the others here, Omi. I think Palou just wants to give himself that comfortable championship gap that he hasn't had over the past couple of days. Kirkwood's gone back-to-back here at Detroit and Gateway, and that championship gap in points has diminished. He wants that extra handful of points, that extra over 10 points here, and he wants laps led as well.
That is exactly what he wants, does Alex Palou. He wants to continue his run. Of course, you've had Kirkwood, a win, who's had a few wins this season as well, but it's mostly been the Palou show, and ever since he proved that he could win at an oval with the Indy 500. It's been very clear that this man is quite unstoppable, quite literally everywhere we go. And he's demonstrating that once again across this whole season. He's really making this season his own, but it's now about who can challenge him, who can show their class and talent as well, and try get themselves to the front of the field. Right now it's Dixon ahead of Palou, but it's very clear, as we mentioned, that they are both pushing on. They're both overdriving it, and Palou running right over to the edge of the circuit in terms of very nearly dipping a tyre into the grass, and it definitely tells you Alex Palou's driving style as we have 10 to go here in the XPEL Grand Prix.
Alexander Rossi, 4 seconds further back the road. Felix Rosenqvist with the best lap of the day, 6 seconds back. And just to set the stage here for how we're looking in terms of car condition, what's left in the tank, well, Alex Palou still has 124 seconds of push to pass remaining. Scott McLaughlin's had to work a little bit, or excuse me, Scott Dixon. Wrong Kiwi name, Scott there, homie. But Scott Dixon with only 48 seconds left on the button. So a little bit more of an advantage here for Alex Palou. But again, it's hard to say at this stage of the race. That push to pass obviously helps, but it burns so much more fuel. So how content is Palou right now running behind? Does he want to get on his giddy up right now and fend that position from Alex Rossi? Keep that comfortable gap. We're starting to see the top 10 kind of dilute at this point of the race.
Yeah, so this is the moment where they start to separate, and we get to this bit of the race where you get everyone extracting their all. There's been lots of moments where we've had cautions across this event so far. We've had the field bunching up. We've had drivers in different races when it's come to the pit stop phases as well. So we now get an idea of where everyone is, and it means we've got a great sprint to the finish, basically, all the way till the end here in Road America. It's going to be really, really great to watch and see who comes out on top, especially if the top two continue to overdrive their cars the way they are. And that is what we absolutely loved earlier on in the season with Palou, who went chasing after the McLarens as well, was able to get by earlier on this season. Palou knows how to chase, how to make the overtake. He is close to Dixon. It's just going to be about finding it to perfection in terms of where he goes for the move. Rossi in third position, Rosenqvist in fourth, and it's Santino Ferrucci who's been doing well considering his usual standards that we have seen by him. So he's actually having quite a good day and has actually made some good overtakes and some good passes. So definitely a big confidence boost for Santino Ferrucci.
Looking through right now, trying to find the last podium for Alexander Rossi. It was Laguna Seca last year. This would be his first with Ed Carpenter Racing. And it looks like here comes Nolan Siegel, as of course it had to be Scott McLaughlin. It was meant to be Scott McLaughlin. Another look on the inside of turn number 4. A big lunge on the anchors to the inside line. And Scott McLaughlin doesn't give too much of a fight. Lets the Palo Alto kid cruise on through. It's P11 for Nolan.
Yep, Siegel going on the charge and being able to take that position, while Scott McLaughlin just thinking about the bigger picture. He's been involved in so much of the racing today, but that's one battle that he couldn't fight, and he lets Siegel go on through and go on by as well. But it's Dixon and Palou. They're the ones who are getting the attention on the circuit by all of the fans out there, by everyone who's right now watching their TVs with 9 to go. We love the races that go all the way to the end, and it definitely looks like this could absolutely be one of them as well. The driver who is of course trying to win for the first time since the of course we had the last 2 rounds which had Kirkwood winning, so he's basically trying to claim his first victory since the Indy 500 as well. So it's a big one for Alex Palou. He was able to win at an oval finally, and now he's back to the road courses, back to where he shines, and he's trying to go back and put his name up in light once more.
And Scott Dixon, who still leads with just over half a second over the 10 of Alex Palou. Remember, Omi, still record hunting right now, trying to become the winningest driver in series history, just a handful of wins away from AJ Foyt. And he's getting older, but again, this is a guy that's aged like fine wine. It's hard to say, though, that the wins are coming just as easy for him. So I think he's driving right now like someone that knows what's at stake here potentially, and really, really overdriving. I don't even want to say overdriving. That gap is gaining to Palou, so definitely putting a little bit more gusto here at the front of the field. He knows what's potentially at stake and what this could mean at the end of the season.
Yep, absolutely. He realizes, he knows how to manage this, and that's what these talented drivers are able to do. They know when to push, they know when to take a bit of a deep breath and just let the race roll as well, and think about the bigger picture. That is really, really important for the drivers to be able to do. We've got Callum Ilott and Pato Award 16th, 17th. They're not separated by much as well. They've got Di Francesco as well in there. So some great battles going on further down the field as they all continue to produce the action out there. But we are still focusing on our top three as they make their way through in our picture. Rosenquist also running in fourth, and then we get to the big gap to Santino Ferrucci, who's 14 seconds off our race leader at the moment with 7 to go here at Road America. So let us know your final thoughts then, everyone, in the live chat as we get ready to conclude this race, of what you've made so far. Quite a lot to pick from, as it's been a really interesting contest, and we're about to reach the end of it in a few moments time, and I cannot wait to see how it is going to end. It may still have a few tales left to tell, and that's usually the case when we go IndyCar racing.
And in a race where we've seen some of the big guys kind of become nobodies, you look at Scott McLaughlin, Colton Herta, Will Power, Pato Award, all in the bottom half of this field right now. It's been the little guys, the little teams, shall I say. Some in technical alliances. Take a bow, Mike Shank Racing, or Meyer Shank Racing, excuse me, with Fro in fourth. Marcus Armstrong in seventh. You've got both AJ Foyt machines in the top 10 as well. Santino Ferrucci, P5. Malukas had to pit from the lead, but did actually merge out still in ninth place in front of Rinus VeeKay, who has absolutely reignited his career with Dale Coyne Racing. First season in his young still IndyCar career, still only 24, Omi, but is in the top 10 once again with Dale Coyne Racing. And it would be difficult here for me to also not mention Kiffin Simpson. It's hard to call him the loose end of Chip Ganassi Racing, but when you're joining with some names as big as Scott Dixon and Alex Palou, those are some big shoes to fill. He wasn't really doing so in his rookie year, but his sophomore year has been absolutely phenomenal. Another top 10 potentially for the 8 machine.
Yep, definitely could be another top step off the podium. And also further back, as we take a look at some of the other racing going on. Of course, our retirements from this race: Newgarden, Stingray Rob, who had that big accident, and Schwartzman, who found the wall once again as well earlier on. And it means Callum Ilott is the only driver flying the flag for Prima right at the end of this one, and he's right now running in 16th position, just ahead of Christian Rasmussen. So that's a very close battle that still continues to go on as we put our focus on Rossi as he looks in behind and sees Rosenquist just trying to see whether he can get closer and closer and try and earn himself a podium position with 6 to go. So he's going to have to push, he's going to have to give himself some time to make that overtake as well. So it's all still yet to change and anything is possible, but it'll be important for Rossi to try stay consistent while also demonstrating some good pace and making sure that he does not make errors to keep the gap at a good distance.
27 push to pass, and Rosenquist actually coming into view of Alexander Rossi. Now, two guys we don't usually see go fisticuffs too frequently, but there is hardware on the line, and we're looking at two drivers, two ex-Aero McLaren drivers that have not had some hardware in a very, very long time. As further up the field, though, it's Dixon still fending off. His dad, Glennis, watching on from the pit row as Nolan Siegel continues to move forward. Gets in the top 10 now with an overtake on Rinus VeeKay. Colton Herta losing 2 positions, going down to 15th. So a couple of reshuffles here in the mid-pack, and we will have to see if the new driver of the number 6 can get to David Malukas, the guy who was meant to be there at the start of last year. Not too far away, actually, as it's less than 3 seconds separating them. With 6 laps to go in such a long circuit here, it is absolutely possible. But looking at the battle of the lead here at the front of the pack, these guys have been genuinely in lockstep in terms of pace. No one's really budged. It stayed exactly at a second here, Omi.
Yeah, so it's going to need something remarkable from Palou as he tries to push on hard as well. Rosenquist is getting closer and closer to Rossi, so we've got quite a few battles to be keeping an eye on. One in the battle for the lead. We've also got a battle for 3rd position as well, and we're going to definitely be entertained all the way through the end. It's about 1 second, 9/10 between Rossi and Rosenquist in the battle for 3rd and 4th position, but it is a clear view at the front for Scott Dixon as he tries to bring this one home, and he tries to bring this one home on the top step of the podium. Will be a great performance and will be a great victory for him if he can do it, but still it's all yet to change. Dixon and Palou of course leading a Chip Ganassi 1 and 2, with Simpson right now running in 8th position at the moment as well, and he finds himself basically running in 8th position with no one too close, no one too well, close either side, to be fair. So he's got about a 1 second and a 2 second gap either way. So he's right now just trying to bring this one home. Right now is Kyffin Simpson.
Scott Dixon with 58 career race wins. That's 9 away from the great AJ Foyt. Supertex with 67. He's already got a couple of records this season. He took the green flag at Indianapolis to become the driver to see that more than anybody else, as he is one of the few drivers, just one of 2 drivers now, to have over 400 career starts in IndyCar. And he will now be, if he can fend off Alex Palou here in the number 10 red solo machine, could be able to add another one on. Alexander Rossi, unfortunately, will have to succumb that position to Felix Rosenqvist, as the fuel strategy was not able to be stretched out. Rossi was hoping to really stretch that out and make it work, but now it will be Felix Rosenqvist to get one of the first podiums in Meyershank Racing history. We'll see if he'll be able to stretch it out as well.
Yep, so let's see whether he can stretch it out, but that will be disappointment for Rossi to see the chance fade away. We thought he was going to be secure for that 3rd position unless Rosenqvist was able to make the move. He's got that position anyway though, due to the late pit stop that we have seen from Rossi, who slots in, and he slots in right now in 13th position. Could be vulnerable to the drivers behind. He'll try and regroup and fight as well and try to take more positions. SW saying, I always like the shot of one car coming out of the pits and the other one going down the straight, and it's a close call. Yes, those are the sides that we love in IndyCar, when we don't know who's going to be ahead. You have tyres that are still getting up to temperature versus tyres that are up to temperature, as we cut to some absolutely crazy racing in the mid-pack, as we have cars sprayed absolutely everywhere. Rasmussen ahead of Di Francesco, and then it's Pato Award in 19th.
Actually, I thought that was one of the ECR cars. It was a big lockup from Christian Rasmussen. He took Graham Rahal with him to the high line, and as a result, Pato Award able to gain those 2 spots right back and sail on through. That's been a mistake we've been kind of waiting for all day long. Downhill, hardest braking zone of the day. And finally, Rasmussen is the one who locks the fronts. Good heads up driving there from Graham Rahal to avoid it. And some more reshuffles. It was Alexander Rossi, though, who actually was not in chaos there. Now blends out in P11 right behind Rinus VK. So the two former Ed Carpenter Racing drivers going at it. Or I guess the guy that replaced Rinus VK trying to take that spot back from him. Still Dixon versus Palou exactly at a minute. I think these guys are comfortable with where they're running right now. I don't think Alex Palou at this point is really looking for the win. But again, things could change here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dixon will be hoping as well to be able to make this one all the way right to the end, as will Alex Palou as they make their way through. Just going to make sure that we can get our cameras back working, our trackside cameras as well that we love to have here at Road America as we make our way through. And there we go, we should have that one working for us now, which is great to be able to see. 3 to go, laps are ticking. Palou is finding himself having to slot in, but Dixon continuing to go around, and yeah, Dixon continues to make his way through, and he'll be hoping that he can avoid a trip back to the pit lane. So he'll be hoping that he can get that one all the way to the end of this one. Palou right now just staying nice and steady, but Dixon at the front as Rosenqvist in 3rd position, also trying to just make their way through. Loads of drivers, loads of cars right now, just having to try and control this one to make sure that they can get to the checkered flag.
And by the way, Felix Rosenqvist is not at risk right now of losing that final spot on the podium. Palou and Dixon now Dixon's in. What's going on with Scott Dixon? He's had to throw in the towel as well. Felix Rosenqvist is going to be promoted. Palou is going to take the lead of this race with 2 laps to go. Absolutely incredible. Could he have not made it on fuel? Is there something we didn't know? Absolute heartbreak for the Iceman, and Felix Rosenqvist will get another spot back Ferrucci with the ability to stand on the podium for the first time in years.
Yep, Ferrucci, as it stands, will be getting that return. Rosenquist in second, and Alex Palou the leader. Well, I threw the idea out about Dixon possibly having to come in about a minute ago, but I thought he was just going to be able to do it. But no, he's going to come in, and this is going to be extraordinary. Well, it's all change, absolutely remarkable stuff, but not in the case, though, unfortunately, for Scott Dixon, who was looking for the return and was chasing his first victory since round 6 at Detroit 1 year ago. It will not be the case, and instead, Alex Palou looks like he will just be bringing this one home all the way till the end.
I really don't know, because it was one lap later in the last cycle that Palou stopped. Are we going to have to see Palou have to stop as well? Is Rosenquist going to get the lead of this race, or are we going to need a Alexander Rossi 100th Indy 500 level of lift and coast for Palou to get this job done? There's other factors that could have contributed to Dixon pitting, a short fueling stint to maybe get him in front of someone else, praying for the yellow to maybe get that number back, never coming. Regardless, some big promotion here as Ferrucci will bring some more hardware over to AJ Foyt for the first time in years. A big slide, and the chips are down. Palou gonna try and ride this one out to the end. White flag here at Road America.
Here we go, as we make our way through and we go on to the final lap of the race. Palou is going to try survive. He finds himself as the race leader. He will try bring this one home. Rosenquist continues as well. Ferrucci chasing a podium once again in INDYCAR, and he will absolutely deserve it after the driving that he has produced today. And we have had so many conversations about Santino Ferrucci, and JB's asked me so many questions about his days of Formula 2 as well. But today, it has been flawless. Today's been overtaking masterclass as well from Ferrucci, and he's going to be getting his chance to stand on the podium if they can all survive to the end. This race has turned on its heads, so we just got to wait for them to come across the checkered flag.
I cannot believe our perfect 2 combo of Kirkwood and Palou has the potential to stay alive here. He works it through the corkscrew, or excuse me, through the carousel, and he's just got a handful of corners here to really keep this alive. Rosenquist able to turn up the wick. He pitted 3 laps later than Dixon and Palou and is running a very rich fuel map compared to him. It's going to take a mistake or maybe Palou to run out of fuel for that to change, but Palou just a mile and a half to go here to keep this nearly picture-perfect season going.
Yep, Alex Palou about to possibly get his return back to the top step. He won 2 races in a row in the lead up to the Indy 500, where he was able to make it 3 in a row. He'd never won at a road, he never won at an oval right before the Indy 500. He was able to change that though, and was able to change it in the most famous race of them all. The question was put whether he'd be able to make it to the end. He is bringing the car all the way right to the last few corners. On the last lap, it will be a return to the top step of the podium for Alex Palou, who takes the checkered flag first, and will win once again, and he will take victory at Road America, and that is going to be another victory for him. He continues the streak of having Kirkwood and Palou winning. There are only 2 winners of this season, Rosenquist in second, and it is going to be Santino Ferrucci who will get that podium, and he will get a return to the podium, and he deserves it after his driving that he has produced today.
And it is win number 6 for the perfect 10, and will be joined with what I can only assume to be one of the strangest IndyCar podiums we have ever seen. I'm not sure if that's Santino Ferrucci running out of fuel or setting it up to do donuts. I almost pray it's not the latter. But Alex Palou able to limp this baby home somehow, some way. The Solo Cup machine, the car paying tribute to the red and white cars of Ganassi Pass, the legendary Dario Franchitti, Juan Montoya machines, a drive absolutely worthy of donning those colors, as we can see everybody running out of fuel after coming off of the stripe. This is how gargantuan of an effort it was to even make it to the checkered flag. Graham Rahal, Pato O'Ward, Rinus VeeKay, even more, nearly completely stopped at the line there. Both Andretti cars still around, Kyle Kirkwood and Colton Herta, but oh my goodness, this was just a phenomenal race. Absolutely everything to be seen in terms of strategy and on-track action. And now Palou may be out of fuel. He's limping to nearly a halt here, working through the corkscrew or through the carousel.
Absolutely extraordinary stuff. Well, they've taken the flag, they're able to bring it to the end, and you've got cars that are running out of fuel left, right and centre. Incredible scenes. And I mean, when I was doing that preview at the start of the day of this IndyCar session, we kind of knew that I kind of predicted that something big would be happening today. There was just that feeling in the air that this would be quite the day, and the ending of it has absolutely delivered that. It's been a good race throughout, and the ending sees loads of drivers run out of fuel, and they get the chance to wave to the fans in the grandstands who've been sitting there in these very hot conditions watching these stars drive around. And it's going to be, of course, Louis Foster, who started this race on pole position. He ends in 11th. There was always going to be a learning experience. It was brilliant yesterday, but it was always going to be challenging when it came to the race for him.
Still damage control there for Louis Foster, who will still, I won't say be happy, but certainly there's a level of content he's got to have with a P11 finish. And, I mean, you talk about the fans here at Road America. There's a reason we elected to have a doubleheader here in 2021 when our options for locations were limited. This Wisconsin fan base is one of the most loyal in terms of IndyCar. And I know it's hard for us to totally see Graham Rahal getting a water bottle thrown from one of the fans there. He's worked for it. Everybody's worked for it. That's the kind of race this has been, and that's the kind of fan base that we have here at Road America. That one bottled, pun kind of intended there, for Santino Ferrucci, who will take a big swig as well.
Yep, he'll get his big moment. Well, these are incredible.
Oh, he's
scenes.
working for a beer. He's got a Miller Lite in hand. Take a swig, young man. You have absolutely worked for it. The man from Woodbury, Connecticut, who stood on the pole position for the first time just under a year ago at Portland, has earned some hardware once again for AJ Foyt Racing. If that isn't classic Road America scenes, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's just absolutely remarkable. And then you've got the absolutely normal Alex Palou, bringing it back in complete normal fashion as Alex Palou does stuff and operates as well. And somehow, after all of that one, after so many discussions about so many drivers, we end with a Palou win, and it's him back to the top step as he looks to try continue another streak and get another streak going. But Kirkwood has stopped him quite a few times, but I'm really hoping, and I think eventually, Jackson, we are going to see someone else be able to get there. There's so many glimpses of other talents getting really, really close. Eventually, this streak will be stopped.
No, absolutely. I mean, we talk about if this race had one or two more laps, this absolutely would be Felix Rosenqvist getting his third win in the IndyCar series. But you cannot look at us after this race and say Alex Palou didn't have to work for it. Was down in the count after the start, got absolutely swallowed up from the front row, was struggling to stay in the top 10, and dare we say he was able to out Dixon, save a little bit more fuel than him. And granted, he had a little bit of an advantage having to work in the draft and all of these other factors, but this is going to be one of the more memorable wins, especially in this season, for the Samurai.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was definitely, and it's definitely going to be celebrated for a long, long time to come. He's got plenty of them, but when you win at a road course like this, the challenge and what the drivers love about Road America, of course you've got the fans, but the nice challenge that you've got around this place, it means that you'll want to savor this one as well. Quickly looking in the chat, SW saying, yeah, feel bad for my man Dixon, absolutely. He's also saying good finish by Armstrong actually too, as he was off the track bad once and he got 5th. He's also saying 7 cars no fuel, fans throwing ice water, and guys, cars just stopped at random spots. That's so funny. Yep, absolutely. And he's also thanking us for the stream as well. We will throw it over to the battle screen and see if we can go down and hear from Alex Palou through IndyCar Radio.
Scott McLaughlin and Santino Ferrucci. Kevin Simpson showing pretty good.
Okay, doesn't look like IndyCar Radio have it at the moment as well, so we'll just continue rambling well with ourselves for the moment. But yeah, I think we've displayed quite a lot of Alex Palou winning interviews at the end of races. We might just have to miss this one on this occasion.
I'm just struggling to find words here of the ability for Alex Palou to really rally back. And, I mean, just so many teams able to really get through. I don't want to say that this championship is over, genuinely, because Kyle Kirkwood and Pato O'Ward have really been able to, even despite his first win on the ovals, we still see that expertise switch back over to Kyle and Pato, and we'll see that again once we get over to Iowa and once we get elsewhere. We still have other places where the advantage goes out of Pelot's hands. But again, in a day like today where it was so clearly out of his hands, he was able to battle back. It's simply unstoppable. Truly the second coming of Scott Dixon.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex Palou is really making this season his own, but at the same time, with performances that we've seen, you cannot count drivers like Kirkwood out, and it's not going completely perfect for Palou, of course, with that crash he also found himself with earlier on 2 rounds ago. So he is a driver who is not absolutely safe of anything, and no one is in this category. You're going to get drama all the way till the end, even if you have one driver who is always at the top step. But it just shows the skill that Alex Palou has, and to be fair, this race has been quite something from start all the way right to the end. With all of the drama that's been taking place, I came into this with, let's just say, not a lot of IndyCar knowledge, because I found out I was doing this quite late as well in terms of commentating it. So yeah, I've definitely been thrown into quite a lot of challenges with these drivers as well, and the typical stuff that NTT IndyCar give you.
It's a big learning curve, absolutely. Especially when you're trying to put names to faces to teams, numbers to teams. It can get very, very difficult, very, very quick. But you look at some names that you maybe wouldn't expect in the top 10 here: Renus VK, Kiffin Simpson, David Malukas, and again, just such a major hat off, not just to Chip Ganassi Racing, but their sister team, Meyer-Shank Racing, 2nd and 5th. Marcus Armstrong able to hold off Kiff for a P5 finish. Kyle Kirkwood loses position once again in the championship to Alex Palou, but minimizes the bleeding at a P4 finish, not too far back. So that championship battle very much alive. Pato Award gonna have to be kicking himself after this one. Strategy did not go his way after coming in earlier than expected. Had to limp home P17, just behind Colton Herta, Callum Ilott. We'll just do a really quick field rundown with your permission, Omi.
Absolutely, go for it.
Alex Palou with the win, obviously. Felix Rosenquist in 2nd alongside Santino Ferrucci. Kyle Kirkwood is 4th. Marcus Armstrong is 5th. Kiffin Simpson 6th. David Malukas 7th. Nolan Siegel, the only McLaren in the top 10, and a much-needed P8 finish. Scott Dixon is 9th. Renus VK 10th. Louis Foster is 11th. Scott McLaughlin 3rd. Alexander Rossi, Will Power, Callum Ilott, Colton Herta, Pato Award, Christian Rasmussen, Devlin DeFrancesco, and Graham Rahal is in 20th. Marcus Ericsson, not the day he wanted. Then it's Connor Daly and Jacob Abel, followed by Christian Lundgaard. Your non-finishers in 25th, Joseph Newgarden, Stingray Rob in 25th, and Robert Schwartzman, the first to go, in 27th.
Yep, Schwartzman will try regroup along with Prema. Of course, had the high of what we saw, the incredible scenes of the Indy 500 qualifying, to be able to get ahead of all of the greats that we have been discussing and talking about. But yeah, to be able to do that, it's unfortunately to the lows of this round as well for him. Stingray Rob with a big crash as well. And then, of course, we had the moment for Newgarden, as we mentioned. But it's been a round of IndyCar, which has really catched drivers out all the way through. And after Louis Foster managed to secure that pole position yesterday, I think there was definitely something in the air that it was definitely going to just go that little bit more wild today. And I think that was absolutely the case, as demonstrated and as shown all the way through as well. We're going to try and get you some interviews as well. I'm just going to load up my Sky Go so we can at least play you some things as well, as we've got a little bit of time to do so at the moment in this race as well. So Santino Ferrucci, but he'll be really delighted with that one. He'll be so happy. It's not been going his way so many times, but finally he's got to this magical moment, and he will definitely want to savor it for quite a long time to come. Fox down there speaking with him right now, and the drivers will be going into a mode of relaxation after what they've just done, because it's quite the challenge in terms of the circuit and also the heat, the humidity out there right now.
Santino Ferrucci having a word with Kevin Lee from INDYCAR on Fox, and we've talked so much about the premise that Sandy has had on the ovals, but again, since Portland last year, he's been starting to turn that wick up on the twisty ones. So I think, again, we talk about that F2 expertise. He's worked a full-time season for a reason here. But I think everybody should be a little bit more scared of road course Santino here as we head into Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, everyone should be a little bit more scared with his performance today, and definitely people will be taking note that he is someone to keep an eye on, and Skygo needs to update to that. It'll probably not be something happening, but we have already spoken with our top 3 as well a few moments ago as well, we just saw. So we're going to just quickly wrap up things here at Road America. We've got the championship standings as well that we can see. Alex Palou, 386, 93 clear of Carl Kirkwood. But yes, still we find ourselves in a situation where if something's changed across the next few rounds, who knows, Kirkwood could find himself closing in. And then it's a Ward who is close to Kirkwood. So that's a great battle that's going on. Rosenquist and Scott Dixon tied on points right now in 4th and 5th in those standings as well as they get ready for this podium here at Road America. So, just loading up, or trying to load up Skygo once again so we can try get the podium as well, as it is always great to be able to hear everything go on down there after everything that we've seen as we take a look at some of the highlights of what was quite a frenetic race up and down the field.
I mean, genuinely a race that had everything and guys struggling for control, as the hybrids have given us some phenomenal road course racing at once. And again, a 98-point gap here between Kirkwood and Palou, but still plenty of racing ahead and plenty of areas where the car favors the Andretti's to go here.
Yep, absolutely. Skygo Affair, we will do the exact same as well at this moment in time. So, well, that will bring the end to all of the action that we have seen here at Road America. Jackson, you were with us for about half of the race. What's been your thoughts from that and this entire weekend and heading into next round? Yep, absolutely. It's been Alex Palou's return back to the top step, but this round has proven that the IndyCar Series still has lots of action and still lots to deliver us in 2025, and it means that we are going to be looking forward to the rest of this campaign, and maybe, just maybe, if Carl Kirkwood can come up with something in the next few rounds, which he has done a couple of times this season, he may just still be in championship contentions if things go quite wrong for Palou in typical IndyCar fashion. Well, that brings the end to Road America. We want to thank everyone for joining us across this entire round, especially for the views that we got on qualifying. It was great to see, and thank you for bearing with us with all of the technical issues with IndyCar themselves having quite a few issues today as well with things going wrong trackside. So, from myself, Omi, along with Jackson Lambros and also Jake Sanson, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next